You're listening to the Beans and Dice podcast, a podcast about how we game.
Hey, folks!
There you are.
Welcome to the Beans and Dice Thursday night live call-in show. I'm Carlos.
I'm Rob.
I'm Mike.
And I'm Wayne.
And we are a podcast about
We game.
How we game?
how we game, except for Thursday nights, because Thursday nights is also about how you game. On Thursday nights, we take your live phone.
Get it right, Mike.
Sorry, man. I thought it was about how we're late.
Yeah, or
Come on, West Coast.
I was almost gonna say how we drink, but that's okay.
A little Maker's Mark on the rocks. What about you, Wayne?
I'm starting with a blue cheese martini, gin martini, and I'll probably switch to a.
Nice.
I already pre-mixed the next drink. I was gonna drink it's called a Boulevardier. It's a
Pre-mixed.
drink. Yeah.
No, he doesn't have a problem.
Oh, you got them pre-mixed, lined up, ready to go.
Because I don't want to
rocking
make the drink mid-show. It's just there. So
I'm rocking the beans and rice over here.
Beans and rice. There you go.
So
Not red
themey.
beans, but black beans. You know.
Yeah, that's fine.
Forgive me.
It's okay.
It's close.
I met black beans when I moved to Miami. I met a lot of black beans there.
Is there a lot of deep in that?
Oh yeah, I grew up there, so I know.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Yeah, we're not about food. We are about board games.
sure?
that's what
Board
we
games?
are
What
about.
board games?
Board games.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, we're rushing because Rob and I were in a game. We just wrapped up a game of
Had to get a quick one in before the show.
Shelfie Stacker. I don't know if y'all can see that there.
Yeah.
There it is. Okay, Shelfie Stacker is a game that got introduced to me by a friend of ours, friend of the show, Captain Gamer, also known as Chris.
Yep.
Captain Gamer on the Discords. Chris from Austin,
Texas.
Yep.
He's been espousing this Shem Phillips title. We'll talk a little bit about it. There's a mess on the table. I had to move it from the kitchen table into here, so it kind of made a mess on that.
He hasn't led us wrong yet, because I mean, this is what 2 or 3 games that he's espoused that have been hits.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Agreed. I think Darwin was one of the big hits
Footsteps
for me.
Darwin.
In the footsteps of
Yeah.
Darwin. So that's something we'll talk about tonight a little bit. Got some news articles that were interesting that I wanted to kind of touch on, and then we will open up the phone lines to get with y'all about what you've been doing.
What you been up to? Yeah. Normal Thursday night call-in show. So we're going to take about the first 20, 25 minutes here. So we started just a little bit late just to kind of prime the pump here. Hopefully get some conversation stuff going, and then you can call in. You can either take some of our topics and tell us what you think, or you can bring up your own topics, tell us what you've been playing, what you've been doing, what you've been hearing, and the show is yours when you call in. So don't hesitate to call once those lines open. But we'll kick it off here. Carlos,
Yeah, there was an article that I had posted up that was interesting to me. The CEO of Cool Stuff Inc., CSI, had an interview with, I believe it was Dice Breaker. I'm trying to find the article right now on our Discord that I had posted it, that talked about his concern with Amazon, his issues with Amazon and how it drove, as he described, it was the main reason ended up having to shutter the board game side of his business, Cool Stuff Inc. Cool Stuff Inc. was a board game, online board game retailer that when we first got introduced to them, Rob and I, they had great games prices.
Yep.
Like their board game prices were some of the best. And if you bought $100 or more, you got free shipping. They ended up opening up a store.
Yeah, multiple brick and mortar stores in Florida.
Yeah, I say the Florida is where they were based out of. They've got their big warehouse here. I guess it's still a big warehouse they own here, but I think they ended up with, I think it was 5 locations. No, they had Miami, they had Orlando, they have one here in the Tampa area. There's at least 2 more that I'm leaving out there. But
Rob and I have volunteered for them at conventions, Dragon Con specifically. We volunteered with them or for them.
Yep.
Where we got a bunch of swag and games from them. But the article really goes into what he feels, what the CEO, I think the founder of Cool Stuff Inc., Jerry Sunkin, talks about. And it was really interesting how Amazon was doing some really shady stuff.
Yeah, I think he called them bullies and kind of throwing their weight around, and
which was timely.
I mean, anytime you have a mega corporation, that's going to happen.
Yeah,
right.
Well, it was very timely because it kind of coincided with a lawsuit. The federal government is suing Amazon for monopoly.
Yep, monopolistic practices. Yep.
Monopolist, yeah, that's a big word.
Yeah. Stuff like that. Yeah.
So it was kind of time. Did you guys get a chance to read the article or at least see some of the
Yeah, I read
some
the
of
whole
it?
thing.
I read it. I also I have a slightly so it's easy for Cool Stuff to step away from selling board games, because they also own QLM, and
What is QLM?
QML.
QML, sorry, Quartermaster Logistics. So they own the shipping.
This is the folks at home.
Company QML, excuse me. So it's like if you have a company and you have 3 or 4 different revenue sources, and the lowest revenue source is selling board games, and you're looking to save money or change your dropping board games is easy for them because they're able to it was the least of their money. They made more of their money through this, through the distribution and warehousing,
TCG.
shipping, and then the TCG. So it's kind of easy for them to drop board game sales and then complain that it was always Amazon selling, whatever. But if you look at Boardlandia and you look at Game Nerds and all the other ones where selling games is still one of their major revenue streams, they don't really have a problem with Amazon, right? And I think the guy from Game Nerds even came out. I saw a comment in some of the boards where the guy from Game Nerds was like, "Yeah, he's like, I get it. There's some truth to that, but when you have a 10 million pound gorilla in the room, you just got to learn to work around them."
And that's what was interesting about this article, Wayne. Is not only did it interview the Jerry, right, the CEO of Cool Stuff Inc. He also sent out questions to other competitors.
Right.
Game Nerds, right, was one of them.
Right. Yep.
Zato Games, and I believe one more to get their leadership's thoughts on Amazon. And did you notice that they were all quite the opposite?
They didn't necessarily agree. Yeah.
Of what Cool Stuff Inc. thought.
Although there was one thing that jumped out of the article for me, not to change topics if anybody wants to expound on that, but there was the one thing that really jumped out at me was when he talked about Amazon targeting Cool Stuff. And he mentioned that to test the theory, once they started seeing that they would put a game on sale and then Amazon would put the same exact game on sale within a matter of hours. And then he said that they started testing that and they would intentionally put games on sale for weird dollar amounts. I forget what the amount quoted in the article was.
$22.42.
42 cents. And then within an hour, Amazon would have the same game for exactly that same price and undercut them on the shipping. Well, undercut them because you wouldn't have to buy $100 worth of stuff. You could just buy that one game at that price. And so it was clear that Amazon was targeting them, and they had people watching what Cool Stuff was doing.
Yeah. They didn't
Amazon
have people watching.
No, they don't have people watching.
Well, they have
artificial
watching,
intelligence. Yeah, let's be honest. There's very few companies in the world that don't have servers hosted via AWS, right? Yeah. Amazon is Amazon.
Oh my God, I never even made that connection. Right. Holy crap,
man.
Wayne!
And that's where the connection is, right there.
Right there. So I guarantee you that at some point the Shopify or whatever shop account Cool Stuff Inc. has is hosted somewhere on an AWS server. And so it's not just Cool Stuff; it's anybody selling anything online. If your product or your website is somehow connected to an AWS server, that is feeding back to the Amazon beast, and Amazon is going to match or lower the price.
Right? They're going to comb through all that, and
that's scary.
That's scary. But that's not scary, really, because think about it. If Carlos, you owned a widget shop in Tampa Bay, and I also owned a widget shop in Tampa Bay, and I see that you in Sunday newspaper, you're selling your widgets at $10 and mine are $15. Well, by next Sunday, I'm going to be selling it for $15 also.
Yeah, but you're talking a week.
Right, that's exactly what I was going to say.
This is like the two gas stations that are across from each other, and like one lowers his price with his boomstick on the gas, and
back in the day,
the guy shuffles out there. And
welcome to the difference between printed media and online, right? It's just times change, right? So what we used to do years in the back where a competitor would lower the price to match a local competitor, now it's online where they're constantly going to try to match each other. So I don't think they're targeting Cool Stuff. I think they're targeting any business who sells online and they're going to match their products because they want to be the lowest person and they can afford it.
Interesting.
It sucks, but I mean, I don't necessarily agree with it. I'm just saying, I don't think they're targeting. I don't think someone at Amazon, I don't think Jeff Bezos is going, we need to target that Cool Stuff Inc. They're taking 0.0000001% of my sales.
You know what's interesting though, because when Cool Stuff really blew up, I remember it being Cool Stuff was almost like the bad guy against the FLGS.
Oh
Yeah.
Right, because the armadas, the local game stores, the critical hits. You know, I'm talking about our local brick and mortars, who were selling either at MSRP or just Strange Realms, just a little bit below MSRP. Like Cool Stuff was cutting their knees out from under them.
Yeah.
Right. So we were like, oh wow, Cool Stuff. You know, I have to make a decision. Do I buy from Cool Stuff, who's just an online retailer at the time?
Yeah.
For us, because it wasn't a local store.
Right.
Or do I buy from my local shop? So they were the bad guy at one time to all the FLGSs, and then they, unlike Game Nerds, did not keep up with using that 900-pound gorilla in the room, right? Because Game Nerds uses Amazon's system to sell the majority of their games. They talked about it in the article.
Right.
Cool Stuff Inc. did not keep up with that, so then now they are undercut, and now they're complaining.
Yeah.
So I don't know, like
tables turned.
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
Like, I think my biggest problem with Amazon is the counterfeiting. And I think Stephen Bonacore talked about this on Board Games Insider several times. So if he's Stronghold Games and he sells 1,000 copies of Terraforming Mars to Amazon or puts them in their warehouse, and so there's a pallet of 1,000 Terraforming Marses that came straight from Stronghold. But then Carlos, made some fake copies in China and had them imported, and then also sells them to Amazon. Amazon doesn't keep those separate, right? They just put them in one giant pile, and then they start selling them out from there, right? So you don't know if the game you're buying from Amazon is from Stephen Bonacore direct at Stronghold or the counterfeit copies from China. That's my big problem with Amazon and their warehousing and the way they do things, right? So that's why I look for, like, when I buy things from Amazon, I might look for it's being sold from a game store, being sold from direct from some other, third party that is maybe more reputable, right?
And the fact that their games were being mixed in with the counterfeit stuff, and Amazon was saying to them, well, if you want us to double check to make sure that you're not being blamed for the counterfeit stuff, you got to pay us extra.
Pay us.
I mean, that's... I mean, let's face it. Amazon is a beast, and we're only talking about a very small portion of what Amazon actually sells.
Oh, sure.
They're doing this across the board.
Yeah.
Let's face it. They even, like if you were even thinking about opening up an Amazon store for widgets or whatever, you can do searches on what the biggest searches are on Amazon and try and target that community. Well, there's Amazon Basics. As soon as somebody starts coming up with good stuff, well, Amazon is like, I'm right here. I'm going to start making this on my
reverse
own. I can
engineering,
make it a lot cheaper and make more money. Yeah. Just like Publix in Florida. Publix will come out with their own brand food or whatever. If something's hot in Publix, well, they have the first line of defense. They can see exactly what's going on their store shelves or any grocery store. They just come out with their own line of Publix, whatever, cereal or... and every store does that, unfortunately. And it does kind of like wedge the little guy out. But, you have to keep changing with the times. And, in Cool Stuff Inc.'s defense, they changed with the times. During COVID, I know for a fact because, I myself and my son used to go to the Tampa store all the time right after COVID. When they were only doing the TCG stuff, even with the 30% extra that they were giving towards trade-ins, they said if it wasn't for TCG, we'd have to close everything down.
Oh yeah.
I think any FLGS would say that.
A lot of them.
Possibly, but I think Cool Stuff does a pretty good job of handling things online with that, and then again with the QML, they're saying that's blowing up there. I think in the article they said they were in a 55,000 square foot facility, and they're moving to 125 square foot or 125,000 square foot facility.
Shipping in warehouse space
just to handle the stuff. Yeah.
Yep.
Michael, Larry echoes your comments about the shifting away from board games by CSI by Cool Stuff Inc. Because he talks about how Cool Stuff decided to move their game warehouses. He talked about how Cool Stuff decided to draw away from the board game community with their business, like to discontinue hosting board game events. Because I remember when that happened.
Oh yeah, man.
You know,
we used
here,
to shun them because they did that.
Yeah, our community here just blocked them out for a while.
It's a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? You stop hosting board game nights at your game store, and then you wonder why no one's buying board games at your board game store.
Well, then Jerry was watching the comments because Jerry, the CEO, responds to Larry's comment. Larry, walk-in customers were a tiny portion of our overall sales. Sorry that we stopped carrying them in store and hosting events. It just didn't make financial sense to continue. So he did it. He did acknowledge it. So what we felt as a community locally, Tampa.
Oh yeah.
What we felt, I wasn't sure if that was just us. I'm just gonna say it, feeling butthurt.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say it.
Yep.
Like that's how we felt because we showed up one night and we weren't welcomed.
Yep.
And it's like, oh, okay, I guess we'll find somewhere else to go. Here's Jerry confirming that was a policy.
Yeah. That was their thing. Yeah.
And that's when I last bought a game from them.
They were pretty open about it. Yeah.
Yeah. But you have to sell out for that, right? You have to understand you either need to cultivate a board game community within your store, or you cultivate just TCG, right? And a lot of stores just do TCG because it's a moneymaker, right? So it's low overhead. You can carry. Think about the shelf space, right? I could carry 10,000 packs of Magic in the space it probably has 100 board games.
Right. Yeah.
Well, let's go to the comments to see what the folks at home are talking about on this one. Let's see if we do have some comments here. Awesome. No bribe foul says they're likely using a repricer. There are tons of them. What's fun is the repricers all fight with each other to get the buy box price. That's a default option. There are merits to keeping it higher to not kill your margin when they run out.
Yeah.
Yep.
That sounds like
Chester
he's
Wilson
dealing with Amazon personally.
Probably. Chester says, private eyes are watching you. Obligatory Hall and Oates reference. Let's see. Carlos sounds shady. Okay, yeah, a little bit. I'm trying to defend my local game stores.
No. That was a response to my comment about you going to China making fake copies of Turbo for Morals.
Oh yeah. I use an example. I got a laser cutter. I counterfeit a lot of stuff. Ask Mike. He's turned me in a few times.
Oh yeah, I've been making calls this whole time.
Making reports. Yeah,
and no one's come knocking at his door yet.
No, they're coming. Yeah.
Can I get a bootleg Shadows over Camelot? See, if we're gonna have something bootleg, might as well make it like a Grail game that you can't find anyway.
Oh, man, that makes it too obvious.
Yeah, I'll take a Battlestar Galactica. Edmund out of Sweden, all the way from Sweden. We're international again, fellas. Yes, in a free marketplace, the players on a marketplace always wants to have a monopoly on a market, but at the same time, for the consumer's monopoly is seldom good. And I think that's for it's the FCC or the FTC, Federal Trade. Is it the Federal Trade Commission?
Probably, yeah.
That's suing Amazon. I just really wonder if that works in today's world. I know, like in European Union, they seem to have a lot of success with those type of suits.
And anti-monopoly, antitrust lawsuits in the United States have taken a nosedive in the last 20 or 30 years.
That's my feeling.
After post 1970s, it really
look at Ma Bell when they broke that up. You know,
well, hey, that was a good thing. That was a very good thing. Because
I totally agree. I'm not saying it was a bad thing. I'm just saying, like,
but that may have been the last one.
Last really big breakup that they did.
So this is like just a funny anecdote. So my mother, she's 80 now. She actually worked for Ma Bell back in like the 1950s and had stock in Ma Bell. And so when it broke up, she ended up getting stock in like all the different every telecom company. And like how many times have all of them over the last 40 years, merged and unmerged and split? So, she's like, I don't know what I'm doing. I just leave it and let it roll. I'm like, there you go.
Just leave it in there. Let it go. Let it build up.
No Bribe Foul says Amazon over prioritizes the customers and screws the sellers. I genuinely just believe it's people using repricing bots. I do e-com for a living, and it's common practice.
Yeah,
there you go.
It's just common practice.
Straight from the horse's mouth there.
There you go.
Yeah, if you're going to be a seller on Amazon, you have to literally live by like infinitesimal margins and just its volume. Right.
Sure.
And that's why it's all about like the affiliate linking is really where you make money is, you post something on TikTok or Instagram about a product and then 1 million people click and buy it and you get a percentage of each buy. That's where people make money on Amazon.
Yeah.
Diego. Hey, Diego. Thanks for chiming in. Our buddy Diego says the 2 Cool Stuff Incs I've been to only had tables and a glass case for TCG cards.
Yep.
It was sad looking.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
It is kind of depressing.
Pretty much. Yeah.
It's my understanding, having the brick and mortars as a TCG retailer allows you access to more of like Wizards of the Coast products for Magic the Gathering, like hosting events.
Oh yeah, you're holding you're holding tournaments, and you're getting the foot traffic in your store. That's that's the whole point of having the brick and mortar. And they have the online sales and such. So,
well, because we've heard of many shops locally that opened up just to establish that relationship to buy the big order of like Magic the Gathering cards on a release, and then like 2 weeks later they like bankrupt and shuttered. I think there's one guy in Tampa who's done it like 5 or 6 times in the Tampa Bay area.
Man.
Yeah.
Who's opened and closed and bankrupted a business and opened and closed it again.
I mean, some of the guys in my game group opened a game store, and literally they rented like a small business office somewhere in like an industrial park that no one would ever go to, took photos and made it a business so they could get access to the distributors to buy. They would buy they would buy the Magic cards on release, crack a bunch of cases, and then resell all the rare cards for profit. Right, so that's one way to do it. Right.
Let's see. No Bribe Foul still in here with us. Thanks. Also, if you send in your items for Amazon to sell, that's FBA fulfilled by Amazon, it will look like Amazon is selling it. So, I think that's what Game Nerds did at one point, because Game Nerds talked about that in the article. The Game Nerds at one point was using Amazon to fulfill their shipping, but they found that they had better control of their inventory when they managed it. So it takes more work, but they took it back.
And that's when the FBA is your stuff, which is legitimate, gets mixed in with, fake shit from overseas.
Somehow. But if you want me to not do that, you got to pay me more.
Yeah.
Yep.
Almighty dollar.
Wasn't that Stephen Bonacore that talked about that?
Yeah, I mentioned that 10 minutes ago. Catch up.
Yeah.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to remember who it was. It was Bonacore. It was Bonacore's
talked about it a bunch on his Board Game Insider. Yeah.
Odak, my man, I saw him yesterday. Jim Odak. If Amazon is a monopoly, so is Walmart. I won't disagree with that.
I gotta disagree. I'm sorry.
In a sense,
they're not as big.
Here's my feeling. During the lockdowns, during the coof that happened, all that stuff, who made bank, right, and who didn't? Like Armada had to close for dang near half a year, right? And then Amazon and Walmart are still open for business like normal.
So was Target. And
it's a lot of power.
Yeah, they had a lot of competitors.
I don't think Walmart's a monopoly, and I don't think Amazon is a monopoly. Not yet, at least.
All right, so you're going to be called out of the jury pool for that federal suit.
That's all right. Yeah. I'll say hang them all, and then I'll get let go on the jury.
Anarchy!
It'll be in Delaware, and Amazon will win anyway.
Let's see. Mr. Jeeves says, I'm late to the party. What's happening? We're talking about the article that Cool Stuff Inc. talked about how Amazon drove them to shutter their board game aspects of their business. And that kind of led into the conversations about Amazon being sued by the FTC for monopoly. So it's kind of getting into some of that e-commerce conversation. Because this is where we shop. We make decisions. We had some good discussions in the Discord.
Yeah.
Folks were talking about how this is why they don't buy from Amazon because of the counterfeit concerns. And the others that talked about they will spend the shipping to buy from an online retailer like Game Nerds versus buying it from Amazon. And then there are others that talked about they would prioritize their local foot traffic game store before they go and do either of those.
FLGS,
that's still I'd say like that's still a very small percentage of people, right? Like I get it, like you want to shop local, and I do want to shop local, and I buy most of my games either locally or through like companies like Game Nerds or Portlandia or something like that, right? But like if I'm trying to like tell my sister-in-law or mother-in-law a game that I want to buy, it's just go to my Amazon wish list. It's on there, right? Like I'm not going to try to tell them go to Game Nerds and you go here, and it's like, you go back to the when buggy whips, right, were a thing, right? You had the best buggy whip makers in the world, and cars came out, and so people wanted to keep shopping at the buggy whip people, and eventually they're going to lose out, right? Because progress happens, and right, everything's going to change. So I support local, and I'm all about supporting local. But when there are some times when it's like, look, just go to Amazon and buy my game, because I'm not trying to explain to you how to go to a Game Nerds with a Z and go here, and that's the game I want to buy. No, just buy something off my wish list.
Yeah.
Wayne's
out there,
trying to
everybody knows it.
guarantee that he's going to get that gift. That's why.
Oh yeah, get on that list. Get on the
He wants
tree.
less issues.
The hardest thing about having an Amazon wish list is like you have the option, like when something's bought, you don't know, but you can like, click and see what's been purchased. I'm like, I have to fight every Christmas not to do that. I'm like, not to spoil it for myself.
Cheater.
I know. I don't. I haven't yet. I have not looked at my wish list and what like my mother-in-law.
Well, I mean, because part of that issue for me, Wayne, is if I'm shopping for like the kids, like if I'm grabbing a toy or something, and I'm like, that's like a $40 order. That, I can just round this thing up to 100 if I just add some games, right?
Throw a few things in. Yeah.
Round it up.
Round it up.
That's
40 to
how
100.
you're leading the path of the
That's a big round.
shelf of shame.
That's how we get to the shelf of shame. We're going to open up the phone lines. 813-618-7099 is the number. It's your chance to take over the show. Talk about what you want to talk about. Talk about what you've been up to. All you got to do is call in. You become the host for 10 minutes. The show becomes yours when you call in 813.
800. You got an 800 number now? Whoa.
Big time.
813-618-7099. Call me now, Miss Cleo.
All right, what else you got in the news? There's got to be some other topics out there.
Well, aren't you going to talk about Shelfie Stacker?
I'll go around. At some point, you want to do that next? Yeah.
Yeah, we can do the Shelfie Stacker.
Do it.
Or I don't want to. Yeah, whatever you guys. I don't care.
I got nothing. Where are my cameras? I got no cameras down here. Okay, this is it. Shelfie Stacker. Okay, so I've had 2 plays.
I played once. We
played once. We're not going to give it a full beans.
Yeah.
But we will share some of the highlights. I'll share some of the highlights. Number 1, game trays. Look at these dice holding game trays, and they really thought about it because these trays that hold the dice, it's beveled on this end, so the dice just kind of pop up.
Easy to take out.
Easy to sort the dice. Everything's dual layer cardboard, and it's all super themey. It's all about organizing your game collection into what appears to be
Your Calyx.
a Calyx style shelf.
Oh, got a call.
Oh, we got a phone call. Beans and Dice Podcast. State your name. Where are you calling from?
This is Ron from Atlanta.
Hey, Ron.
Hello, Ron Frazier.
Kick off the show this week.
Gentlemen, all is right with the world because it's Thursday night and I'm the first caller.
Woohoo!
So things are right.
Thanks for joining us. What's going on?
So I was listening to your topics here, and I think that's interesting because there's a store here that shrunk. And I followed their history ever since I was in Atlanta. They changed ownership and changed names, but basically, they were in FLTS that had a variety of stuff: role playing games, board games, card games, all that stuff, miniature games, the whole come out of tabletop. Loved going there for years. Changed ownership, and then the new owners were not. They became less and less interested in the board game side of the house, right? And just more and more focused on the card game aspect. Yeah, they opened an online store, and next thing you know, their board game shelves went from a wall-to-wall thing to this tiny little section. And the store, it wasn't a store. It was just a big space with a bunch of tables. It was a magic store. It was a huge magic store. And it's in the same plaza that Level Up is in. But fortunately for me, Level Up is in this little tiny spot. And they went to a much bigger spot, that spot that they're in now. In the other store, well, they went full in on the whole card game thing and moved around the corner. They're still in the same plaza that Level Up is in, but now they have this tiny little store because all they're doing is selling Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh! And all that other stuff. And I'm just kind of disappointed because over time, this was a place where I had a lot of good gaming memories. And even when they changed locations from the original location to the plaza that they're in, I was still going there. And it's just seeing the whole thing just go down, in my opinion, go downhill from my perspective. it's just disappointing. So that whole this discussion reminded me of that. But it's a real thing. Like the call of the TCG business is a strong call because of the space. You don't need the space to store cards, right? Like,
and really, a lot of that business for them is online. The brick and mortar is just what gets them access to the distributions
and
to be able to then sell online.
Yeah.
I think tournaments aren't even something that they would want to do. I think
but they have to.
No kidding. Yeah,
they have to. Like WotC's going to be like, oh, you're going to sell our products. Well, you have to host events. And somebody tell me if I'm wrong. Anyone who's in the industry, if you're in the chat, you want to call in. But that's my impression that I get. Probably is that you have to participate in their organized play in order to be a distributor.
Yeah. Yes, you do, and so I used to work for WizKids, and I used to judge HeroClix, and so in order to get X amount of product, and we saw that with Orkana, right, where game stores that signed up for their play, whatever it is, their organized play, got more product than stores that didn't, but I'll say this though, like Magic tournaments, HeroClix, when we used to do HeroClix tournaments and stuff like that, it was. Stores like doing the tournaments sometimes too, because when you do sealed box, everyone's buying 2-3 packs, 4, 5, 6 packs. Everyone's buying 5, 6 packs of HeroClix, and it was the limited edition and the promos that the store got based on how much they bought. And I'm sure you guys remember Merlin's games, right? Merlin's games started getting.
I love Merlin's.
Yeah, but in order to then get certain things from Warhammer, you had to buy so much product, right? So it's like it's kind of like not a Ponzi scheme, but it's like the more you buy, the more product you buy, the more limited editions, the more figures you get, the more.
This was my last purchase at Merlin's. This bag of dice was the last thing I bought before they shut down. I remember
handy
that.
right there.
Yeah.
And when was that, Wayne? How long ago was that? How old am I?
Merlin's closed at least 17 years ago.
Yeah, I still got those dice right here, ready, available.
Never been used.
But that's, I mean, organized play is a huge moneymaker, man, for stores because it drives traffic. It drives people. They'll look at your individual single sales. They're buying, the draft tournaments are the big moneymakers.
Now, Ron, I commensurate with you on the feeling of that change, right? The change in ownership. There was a Cuban restaurant right near the office where I work, and we used to order Cuban food from them. And then they had new management, and like the rice and beans just were never the same again, and it completely stopped ordering. It was huge disappointment. I've worked for this company. It'll be 20 years this April. Yeah, that's how long I've been there, and for over a decade. Right, that's a place we would just order. So that change in ownership, the change in their prioritization, impacts you deeply. Me with the food side, you with the games, but I feel you.
Food games. Restaurants are kind of a third place as well, right? Because eating is important, and we bond over meals, right? Like so.
Well, introduce to the folks at home who didn't watch our RPG conversations. What is the third place? Let them know again.
We never actually had the full conversation that I intended on. But a third place it's a location where you hang out. Your home is your first place. That's where you spend your time, you rest, and all that stuff. Your second place is something like your workplace. Although that kind of evolves post-pandemic with hybrid and remote work situations. But your third place is your place for community. It could be a church for us tabletop gamers. It could be your game store or whatever other public space you meet to participate in your hobby in. It could be the pub or what have you. And it's a very important part of life because we human beings need relationships to thrive, and wherever you can congregate and engage in those relationships, they're very powerful places.
Right, so and if you show up at one of these TCG shops, they tend to look very clinical, right? Yeah. They got the Costco white tables. Yep. They got the harsh white fluorescent lights. Yep. right? That's not a third place. Like, you don't feel like this is where I want to come hang out.
Yeah.
You forgot the butt
Nope.
cracks and smell.
Oh yeah, butt cracks in the seats. Yeah.
Sorry.
But yeah, that's true, and that's how this other store is now. It's not a third place. It's a place where they can run their run whatever level of tournament that they need to keep the primo goods coming in, and it's a shame.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen several stores just even in my short time, but Carlos harkens back all the time just to all the stores we've seen in the Tampa area here that he's gone to and enjoyed time at, and then just for one reason or another they just disappear. So yeah,
I think we could probably name 8 to 10 over 20-year period easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ron,
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say if you have another topic, if not, I got a question for you when you get a chance.
No, that was the main thing I was thinking about.
Cool. I know that this harkens back to Ron and I are the RPG guys. Carlos is as well, but we know that earlier this year the kerfuffle and all the mess with D&D. Have you followed? Today was the day that the MCDM RPG launched their Kickstarter. Have you followed that at all?
Yeah. I'm actually a patron.
You are a patron. Oh, nice. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So I haven't read like any of the patron posts because like I was just there to support them financially. I'm like, when I get a polished product, then I'll look. Is my attitude. Like, but yeah, man. I mean, what that 1.5 million, maybe more right now.
Almost 1.9 million in the first day so far.
Yeah.
And so I think Rob and Carlos. So MCDM is a company owned by Matt Colville. They're probably like, so it's like, have D&D and WotC, and then you have like White Wolf and those things, and you have like Paizo. Then like they're probably in that next tier of RPG companies. They've had several multi-million-dollar Kickstarters, but they basically said that today's was their launch of their competitor to D&D, where they're coming up with their own system, not using D&D rules, no D20, completely new system from the ground up, where they're just going to say screw WotC, screw D&D, and in day one it's 11,000 backers and $2 million, and they've got 28 days to go. So
not bad.
It's pretty the wrong business.
Yeah, not
bad. Jump on that train.
yeah. So
it's pretty. It's pretty cool to watch that whole thing develop, because I mean they apparently pay the best rates in the business to their people and do all kinds of great stuff for the employees. The tabletop industry, there's not a lot of money in it, but one thing I appreciate about MCDM, let's talk about the way tabletop companies treat their employees. I know finances is a big thing, and people have to make shrewd business decisions in order for their companies to survive. And so, RPGs survive on razors and margins. I know board games survive. They probably are doing better, but you're not going to make a ton of money in board games. And so, like, the people don't always get paid the best. They may not have benefits, and the benefits that they do have might be substandard or all that kind of stuff. But one thing I appreciate about MCDM is they pay their folks well. I'm not saying that they get benefits. I'm sure that the half dozen or so folks that are actually like full time probably get benefits, but outside of that, they still pay their folks well. And the thing is that like they're not afraid of saying, okay, this is how much a book is going to cost. If we're going to provide the art and the quality, the quality of printing, and pay people at a rate that doesn't put them in a position to make a decision on whether they're going to pay their rent or eat dinner for the next week. It's, and the thing about the tabletop industry, board gamers tend to be more, more forgiving and more generous, the role playing game community has tended to be like deep. That's just, but which is yeah. But the thing is that like even with board gamers, like board gamers are not all board gamers are like super generous. People have it.
I think Ron,
budgets, right?
You're speaking truth, Ron. You're speaking truth because I believe that the board gamers are more attracted to or conditioned to be consumers compared to the RPGer. And I'm going to come from my limited RPG experience. Wayne lumped me in with you and him on the RPG-ness. My RPG-ness is tiny compared to Wayne's RPG-ness. His RPG-ness is huge. Like I do not have anywhere near the collection of RPG games.
That's only one of several shelves.
So for me, what I do recall with my RPG history is you would buy a book. You would buy your rule book and maybe a player's handbook and maybe your class guide. Like if you were really into that one class, druid or otherwise, you'd buy that one supplement. And that was supposed to last you 2 decades, right? Like that's how it felt before. Yeah. So, there was my initial investment. Everything else is pencils and erasers and paper. Like I shouldn't have to buy anything else. So I think board gamers are more conditioned to be like, this is a product. It's not a lifestyle. I'm going to enjoy it a few times and then buy the next one. So I think you're not wrong, Ron, when you say RPGers are a little more cheap. I think is the word you used. I think they're more stingy because that's the community I remember being around. Like, hey, I'm not buying another supplement. Why are you changing the rules? How can you change the rules every 12 years? Like, come on, man. 12 years? 12 years. Long time. And then WotC, I think, is going on every 5 years now.
I think you would. So the guy who owns MCDM, Matt Colville, actually has a good. It's like a 45-minute video, but it's really good where he talks about edition wars and like the grognards who just I have first edition from 1979 and how dare you make me upgrade in 2023 to a new edition. And it's a good video. It talks about like the different types of mentalities that RPG gamers have with regards to new editions or moving to new product and things like that. Yeah. Hey, there's Mike.
Yeah.
Way to hit the nail on the head, Ron. Always appreciate it.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks. Thanks for the conversation, guys. I really appreciate it. And at some point in time, I gotta get on and talk about an RPG topic. But
hey, I don't know if you knew I had a baby. Actually, I didn't have it. My wife had it. Yeah. I was there for support. So I've got some time off work right now. So it is the time to do it. So let's get back together and pick a day to get it done. I've got some paternity leave that I'm spending with the family, but that leaves my evenings open. So let's make it happen.
All right.
Let's do that third spaces conversation.
Yeah.
All right. I would love to do that.
Good night, Ron.
Everybody check out Ron Talks Tabletop for Ron's take on a lot of things, gaming.
Yeah, on YouTube and on Instagram. You can find Ron Talks Tabletop.
That is correct.
Thanks for calling, Ron. You have a good evening. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Take care.
Good night. That's my buddy.
Ron Fraser from Atlanta. Hot Atlanta. Not as hot right now, but.
Yeah, I sorry about that. I missed a lot of that. I had a yellow jacket get in here and was buzzing around.
Oh, wow.
it was like dive bombing me. I don't know if you could see it in the background earlier, but
I'm going to rewind after the show. We're going to go back and watch.
Yeah, I had to turn the mic and the camera off because I had to hunt him down. I mean,
curse him out for a good first.
I finally got him, but man, he's at least an inch long.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it was a big one, so hopefully another one isn't going to come in during the show. But so I'm back. All
right, should we get back to the Shelfie Stacker?
Just some highlights. Shelfie Stacker is, I heard it described to me as Azul, but I would say it's probably more like Sagrada.
Yeah.
So you're going to get an IKEA, non-branded, similar to IKEA Kallax shelf, and your goal is to fill it with games using these dice. And these dice that you use have different sides on them. And they're going to equal a certain number of games. So you're trying to fill these Kallax shelves, and they're just D6s. They're 1 through 6 on them. So you're going to draft like you do in Azul, right? There's going to be these cardboard boxes on the board that you're going to use. You're going to place a number of dice on, 3 dice on each one of these. And you're going to have a number of boxes equal to 1 more than the number of players. Players are going to draft these sets of dice off the board in order to then place them into their shelves. When you place them into your IKEA shelves, your Kallax, you have to start from bottom up, and you have to go from lowest number to highest number. And you can only place the same matching color in that column. So once you put a color in a column, you can only use that one color working up your way up the column. All of that is super simple.
Yeah,
and really, as I read the rules, was thinking, why am I playing this? Like, Captain Gamer, you got me. You got me on this one, Captain Gamer. I knew you were an insider for a big board game.
Yeah.
But then when I played with Robert and my wife, we made a 3-player game because I played it solo. We were using the cards. So these cards here.
Wait, you played it solo? I thought you were a solo gamer.
No, I never play solo.
No?
Unless I do.
Yeah. Just to learn games.
Just to learn games. And that really is. You know what? And I started doing this now. I'm recording those. I'm put them in the log as a solo play because I will always play my games solo to make sure I got the rules pat.
It's not recording them for the channel, but recording them for your BGA stats.
Correct. For my BGA. I'm calling it a play from now on because after the conversation that we had, like I am playing them solo, I might as well get a little checkbox for it. Mm-hmm. That would have changed my stats for 2023 hugely. Hugely. Very huge. Amazing.
Who knew?
Bigly.
So you're getting bigly. You're going to get these cards, and they have numbers on them. Each of these cards is going to have not only a number on the top corner to indicate when that card triggers. Some of them are upside down. There's Rob in the background.
Make faces while he uses that camera.
And on your turn, you're going to pick one of these characters to reveal simultaneously, and that's going to be the order that you draft in. What's cool is on the bottom of the card, it's got a letter. So if you happen to draft, let's say both of you pick a 7, then you just look for the one closest to the A on the letter, and that's going to be the 7 that goes first. Yeah. But then when you place that in front of you, it's going to have an ability, and then you can use that ability at any time during the game, later, anytime, or right now. You can use any number of abilities at one time to trigger, to modify dice, to move dice from your big shelf to your shelf of shame. Look at that tiny little shelf of shame. Yeah. The little shelf of shame.
Need one about 6 times that size for you. Yeah.
Well, I use this for my shelf of shame, and I use this for the games I played.
Yes.
So for the shelf of shame, that's where you put dice that you cannot place. So if you drafted a box of dice, and you can't place any of them, they go to your shelf of shame. They are equal negative points at the end of the game. But really what I found is I want to play a little more before I do a full in-depth give it the beans. But it's the cards. It's the cards that make the game.
Yeah.
It's the characters in the card because there are characters such as the cat who ends up peeing in the box.
Oh, no.
So you roll down a dice -1, right? So you subtract 1 to a die. Then you got your Michael Lorenzos of the world, and it's the Neat Freak. And the Neat Freak gets to roll a die up 1 when he triggers his ability. So that's Mike Lorenzo all the way.
And Wayne, too, apparently.
Oh, yeah.
Not me. Not this guy.
It's got to be, yeah.
The monochromist has a guy painting miniatures, and he gets to break the rule of matching colors when he places a die. So you can start to see the theme of all the different characters. I think it comes with 16 total different characters.
Okay.
Each player gets that same set. So at the beginning of the game, you can shuffle all 16, draw 18 of them, and then everyone has to use that same number. I'm sorry, draw 8 of them.
Yeah, say 8. Math.
Shuffle 16 and draw 18.
Draw 18.
Yeah. I'm glad you're tracking.
Half of them. Yeah.
You got to find like 2 more somewhere.
Right.
You're going to get 8 of them, and then everybody uses those same 8 to play their game. Or you can do where you draft. There's a drafting system. There's a drafting variant. And there's also where you just decide which ones you want to use for what combos you want to use. It is I don't know if I said it, it's a Shem Phillips game.
Yeah.
Shem Phillips of
West Kingdom series.
Very complex games renowned.
Yeah, fairly heavy-ish games. Euro
so I'm
games.
curious what triggered for him this dive into, not dive, because that sounds like negative. his departure from heavy games into this very light game, because that's what I got out of it. It's a very light game.
Yeah, playing with all the extras I think is a must. I mean, this is super simple, super light. If you don't play with the cards, they give you different special abilities.
Oh yeah, and there's end game scoring. So there's not only an end game scoring card, there's also a first to claim card. So the end game scoring is going to give you some goals to go after towards the end game. And then I dropped it.
Yeah, he's talking on the floor.
I dropped it.
Yeah, there he goes.
Then there are these first to claim cards that have kind of a pattern, and the first person to make that pattern somewhere on their board gets to claim this, and no one gets to steal it. And then you got these sidekicks who are background by a certain color, which matches the dice. The player who gets 3 or more of that dice color on their board first gets to claim this card. But it's like the longest road in Catan. If someone gets more than you of that color, they can steal it from you. So it adds this idea of I'm stealing longest road, or I'm going to focus and try to claim that one that isn't stealable. Stolenable? Theftable. And then everyone gets to share the end game scoring. So there's some... My ultimate feeling, I guess this is it. Like,
I mean, we don't have to give the whole beans, but I mean, I think we probably are to a point where we have an impression of what we want to say about this, right? I mean,
I don't know if I would play this with new gamers.
Yeah, it was okay.
If I play this with new gamers, I would play Azul. I think Azul would be easier to explain.
Yeah, it's
the cards that really add the depth. Yeah. So if it's us 4 at the table, Mike, Wayne, Rob, myself. Between Azul, Sagrada, and this, I think I'm going to bust this out, because we're going to have the characters that we can use to help create combos for the game, a little more gamery, and then the theme alone of organizing our Calyx shelf, putting games, moving them from our shelf of shame, onto our big shelf, putting them on these cool boxes that Mike Lorenzo would appreciate. So you got these, they're all different too. You got these boxes that have like a theme to them, like their Kickstarter deliveries. So here's Elder God goods being delivered. So you got these themed boxes. The sea monster shipment.
I might give Mike just
North Sea shipping. PTSD.
PTSD. There we go.
There you go. Or go ahead.
I was gonna say, so the game sounds similar to My Shelfie, and I don't, Rob, have you played that?
I have not played that yet. No,
Okay, because it's very similar. It's basically just organizing a shelf by color and matching colors and making patterns. But I think My Shelfie is probably a little simpler than that. I'd be interested to see if somebody who's played both what they would think of the comparison. And then I throw the comment up here. I think so. The board game rundown here. I didn't like it, and that's got to be Tim from Board Game Rundown, because Mike earlier in the comments said that he hadn't played it. So, so the other show that I was on before Thanksgiving, they at least one of them played it and wasn't a fan. So
now is Tim like our Rob?
Oh,
like I didn't like it.
No.
9 out of 10.
Yeah,
2 out of 10.
9 out of 10. I didn't like it. 9 out of 10. Yeah. Rob is I loved it. 2 out of 10.
But I gotta say, from the way that you guys are describing it, I would play it, but you're not selling me on it.
And I was going to say, it gives me some feeling with the dice manipulation and the placement of dice and having different columns and rows and stuff to place in. It really gives me the feels of a role player, and I would play role player 9 times out of 9, probably.
I was just going to say that, like, it sounds like role player to me a little bit with the placing the dice and trying to create. But but I would try it. I'll play any game once.
I would not agree with you on the role player.
Really?
I think I had my fill of it the one time I played it. I think I would play this because this is truly more of a filler.
This is definitely quicker and lighter.
This is like first game of the night or middle game, palate cleanser, coffee game. I don't know if y'all have a coffee game. Like you wake up, you're still not fully awake. You're having your first cup of coffee, but you want to have an activity. Yeah. I think this is more in that vein, but I do want to play it some more, and I will play it some more with my wife at minimum, some 2-player games using the cards 9 through 16. Like we haven't even seen cards 9 through 16 to see how they combo up, how they manipulate dice to really start to get that dice mitigation.
Gotcha.
But I'm not ready to give my full summary yet, so we'll save this for another day.
Okay, I need a few more plays.
Seems like a play. Like, it's a good fun game to play every now and then, but not something that I need to own.
Not something not something I would own or that would hit my table regularly, I don't think. So
Call in, tell us what we're wrong. 813-618-7099 is the number. You know who's not calling in? Aaron Clark. Aaron Clark says he's not calling in because he's not able to call in tonight, but would love to hear everyone's thoughts on the games they are most excited to get off their shelf of shame / opportunity. So we'll go around the horn. We'll start West Coast and work West Coast. Work our way over. I think Wayne would be more west than we are.
Okay, yeah. So we'll let Mike, Wayne,
so
and
Mike, Wayne, and then us.
I think the background here is after last week's show, kind of jumped in the Discord server. So plug to join our Discord server. Excuse me. People started posting how many games they had not played in their thing. And so I
think that was Bowser who started that trend in our top 20 channel.
Was it Nick? Yeah,
I think it was Nick because Nick was joking. Nick, it was because we played Apiary and he talked about trying to get more games played and how many games he had unplayed, and he went home that night and added up all the games he played. So
he's still holding the title right now.
Well, we all know who really holds the title. It's just we're waiting for the entrance music.
Listen, Matthew Broderick said it best. The only way to win is to not play.
Oh yeah, there you go. Guaranteed.
So it's been fun seeing like what people post, So
yeah, and Wayne's doing a good job of posting, updating our leaderboard of who's got the most unplayed games on their shelf. So nothing better than putting those out in people's faces. But all right, we gave you some time to think about it, Mike.
Oh, I knew immediately.
You knew immediately.
Oathsworn is at the top of my list.
Yeah, if I owned it, that would be at the top of my list. But yep.
Yeah, without a doubt, that's top of my list.
All right,
mine's
Wayne?
an older game, so I've owned this game. God, I've owned this game for a long. It's probably the oldest game on my shelf of shame, opportunity, whatever you want to call it. And I feel bad because it's right up my alley, and that's Brewcrafters.
Yeah.
I used to brew beer. I'm a home brewer. I do all that kind of stuff. I obviously haven't done it very much with the child, but I originally bought this game when I was in the height of my home brewing and loved it and was like, oh, this is gonna be a great game because it's all about running a brewery. And every time I brought it somewhere, it just hasn't. I brought it to Dice Tower East this year. I brought it to Game Days this year. I brought it to Necronomicon, and it's like
didn't get played.
I didn't get played. So like I'm really looking forward to playing this game. I know it's a good game. It's a good, solid worker placement kind of Euro game. So it's not going to disappoint. It's been on my shelf of shame the longest, and it just needs to get played. So that's mine.
I'll go next. Carlos is scouring his shelves over here. He's got hundreds and hundreds of games to go through. So while he's doing that, most of us are choosing between like 30 or 40, and he's looking at 100 and something here. But
Carlos
anyway,
is like, from which shelf?
Exactly. Which shelf of shame? Which one? So mine, similar to Wayne, mine is actually one that I was bringing to Game Days for a while, but this was years ago, and I gave up on it because I brought it to so many Game Days and it never got played. Underwater Cities is a game that I've owned for a long time, and I keep hearing comparisons to Terraforming Mars and some other games that I really like. People say, keep telling me, if you love Terraforming Mars, you're going to love Underwater Cities, and that's one I've got to get played. There's just a handful of people I know in our game group who have played it, and who there was a couple of them who promised to teach me. I know one of them was Muhammad, but he disappeared from our group for a little while. So hopefully, he's been popping up in the chats and stuff a little more recently. So I'm hoping he'll make it out to a game day or somewhere along the way. But I got to find somebody who knows that game. Even though I've watched probably 5, 6, 7 videos on it over the years now, I just need to find somebody to sit down and teach it so I can learn it and play it. But Underwater Cities is mine.
The funny thing is about that game is Lonnie was the one that he was the first one in the group to get it, I think. And he taught Mo and me at the same time. So that's the one time that I played it was with Lonnie. It's a good game. Production quality is but if you can overlook that, it's a solid game.
Yeah, I gotta play it.
You got to support from Jim Odak, love Underwater Cities and Board Game Rundown. Also,
there you go.
Cities is good. So you got a couple more
good
there.
Yeah, I gotta get it played. I keep hearing good stuff about it. Oh, Carlos has pulled a game. He's done it.
All right, so for me, the game that I own now, I know, Wayne, you talk about seeing a lot of shrink at my house, but I tend to not have shrink because even if I haven't played the game, I like to open the box, kind of go through the components, punch stuff, and then put it back on the shelf. This is one that I went through, Marvel Zombies.
Lies have been detected. There's a lot of shrink in your house, man.
There's a lot of there's a lot of cellophane.
I can hear the cellophane
around here. Liar.
Marvel Zombies has been on my list to get to the table. I really enjoy Zombie Side as a game, but I do find it's pretty big. So it's table space. It's the amount of tiles, the amount of players, because you're always playing with 6. It just depends on how many people control how many people. Did I say that right?
People controlling people.
Yeah, characters.
People
Controlling characters. Players controlling characters. So you're always gonna have 6 characters, but here's 4. So like it feels like this should be easy because you're only using 4 characters, and it kind of flips the script. My kids are Marvel fans. We play a lot of Marvel United, so this is one that's on my list to get played this winter break. So when the kids get off, get all the boys together. The 4. 4?
Yeah, you got to count them. Oh man, it's getting bad.
The baby can't play a game.
Okay, the baby can't play. So 3 Cabrera boys plus
There
me.
you go.
Yeah, lots of kids. Cabrera house. Marvel Zombies. That's my answer.
So we got Aaron Clark saying lots of Kickstarters coming in. So for him, for the end of the year, he wants to get Earthborn Rangers, which I'm hearing a lot of good stuff about that.
I heard good stuff about that.
Yep. Unsettled Expansions, Age of Rome, Apiary, and Expeditions. So those are the games. Then Jim Odak, the 2 games he wants to get off his shelf of shame are Nightmare Cathedral, which I love. I think that's the one I really love the cover of. Is that the one that has it's like a shadowy white into the cathedral? Like
yes,
on fire? Oh, that looks so good.
It does look
and
nice.
and Yucatan. So there you go.
We got a question in the chat there. My man Wayne running the engineer board.
Which version?
Which version of Zombicide? Okay, like straight up, if I had to pick a version of Zombicide, I would say the Night of the Living Dead.
Oh yeah.
I think I found that one to be the most fun.
Most welcoming, I think, too.
Also,
Yeah.
very much the most welcoming, but also the one that I felt like had the most narrative to it.
For
Can I
sure.
say that?
Yeah.
Because it followed the movie.
Yeah, it follows a movie.
And,
yeah.
and you're a fan. You're like me. You're a fan of the Romero movies, right? That you'd love that.
I would not call myself a fan.
Right.
I watched them all. I've enjoyed them, but I don't know if I'd watched any of them twice, except for the one that had Leguizamo in it.
Oh, Land of the Living Dead.
Because he's Puerto Rican, I gotta watch him. Sorry, I gotta, mi gente. That one wasn't great, but John Leguizamo.
Totally off topic, but speaking of Leguizamo, did you watch the one where he's the bad guy in the Santa movie, where the guy from Stranger Things is the sheriff from Stranger Things is Santa Claus? It's
no. I don't know why it sounds familiar, but no.
Mike is answering Diego in the chat. I have a feeling, but go ahead. Sorry. Oh, yes. I figured.
Sorry.
Tim from Borgay Ronda says this is the one that's on his shelf of shame. So I'm assuming when he says this, that's the Night of the Living Dead version. I think I found that one to be so far the best one to get into because of the story, because of the contained table size. I've been really picky about my games lately because of how much table space they're taking. And the Night of the Living Dead version, I keep pointing because it's right behind me, is the one that it tends to have just 4 tiles.
Yeah.
It tends to be just the house. You're playing in the house. And you're like barricading the house to try to keep them out.
Yep.
So it just seems to be the most contained, the easiest one to get to the board, the one with the simplest rule set. The noise is super simple in that one. But the second edition I love. I have the Washington ZC. I have the Fort Hendricks. I have the extra soldiers. I wanted to get the presidents and all that.
I have that.
Mike, I saw them on your shelf.
Yeah, man. You got a whole collection though. If you're
that was my expectation. You made me buy the whole collection.
You never got into the one in space. I forget which one that one was. What was the one where they were
Invader?
Invader.
Yeah,
I'm not a huge xenophobe.
Okay. That's not your thing.
That's not a word.
I don't know any
Xenos.
Zombicide stuff, but I do want to own the Zombicide, the Mighty Python one that they came out with.
The Silly Ministry of Silly
and
Law.
I also want to own the
there was a Western one.
Yeah, there's also they made one after the Rock Band with the zombie.
Oh, Iron Maiden.
Oh yeah,
Iron Maiden. Thank
Iron
you.
Maiden
My
one.
brain's
Yeah.
not working. I would love to own the Iron Maiden one. Yeah, that'd be good.
And I know Kyle from Chicago, also known as Mr. Jeeves in the chats, just espoused his love for the Ghostbusters upgrade, the Ghostbusters kit.
Oh yeah,
that has the Stay Puft Man and Violent Night.
That's the one.
That's
a new one.
It came out like last year. It's the sheriff from Stranger Things. He's Santa Claus, like the real Santa Claus.
I have it on my wish list. I didn't realize Leguizamo's in it.
Oh yeah.
Like John Leguizamo plays the bad guy, and him and his group of like mercenaries, they're trying to rob like a billionaire's house of like money, and like there's a little girl there who has a walkie-talkie, and all of a sudden Santa gets it, and she's like talking to him. She's like, all these naughty people are in the house and they're trying to kill us. And he's like, I got you. And he flashes back to like 10,000 years ago when he was like a Viking warrior. And he like, Santa lays some whoop ass down, and then it's good. It's actually, I just watched it like a week ago, and I'm like, okay, I gotta watch this every Christmas from now on because it's that irreverent Christmas movie that you have to watch. So yeah.
All right, so I just found it. It's on VidAngel. I don't know if anybody knows what
Definitely
VidAngel
not,
is.
Probably out for your kids, but
No. So I'm a subscriber of what's called VidAngel. It's an app. It's a streaming service that connects to your streaming services, and it allows you to filter all kinds of stuff. You can choose what words you don't want to hear, what types of scenes you don't want to see, and so I have been watching so much more TV now, especially with this paternity leave, right, in the living room than I've ever done in my life. Because you know me, I try to protect my kids from seeing stuff before it's too. So what we watch in the bedroom, hey, that's us. We're grown-ups. We're grown folks. But that's just like the end of the night, right? As parents, the majority of our day is spent in the living room, feeding and homework and all that other stuff. So I started using this subscription service called VidAngel. So now I'm watching movies and TV out in the living room. I just say, hey, please, no F-bombs. Let's not do no F-bombs. And, let's keep the murderizing down to a limit. So it'll skip any like violent scenes or anything like that. So it's been allowing me to watch a lot of movies. So it is on VidAngel. I have added it to the VidAngel wish list.
Watch this late at night without the kids.
Don't
full on.
The movie will be 15 minutes if you put it into VidAngel.
Opening credits, Santa, close credits.
Right.
It is really fun. It's a fun little movie. It's like one of those just, I don't know. I didn't think it would be that good, but I enjoyed it. It was
like Wazamo. Let's see. Tim says
The Pest.
We're assuming it's still Tim.
Don't know that.
He hasn't confirmed.
Yeah, I'm assuming this is Tim. Yeah, because Mike was commenting earlier, so unless he's dual commenting, I'm assuming it's Tim, but it could be Mike. Who knows?
Yes, The Pest. That's one of the first movies I saw as a young man.
Don't know that one.
Wow, we did not grow up the same, Robert.
Pest. Yeah.
You didn't see it on Univision?
Never heard of it. No.
Okay.
Not on that one.
Not on Telemundo.
Telemundo. No.
I still remember like Wazamo in the Spawn movie. It was like one of the first ones I from.
Where were we? How did we get to that?
We're like way off the rails.
Can we get back to the?
We're talking zombie side
here.
Yeah.
Hey,
That's
we're after 10 o'clock. We can be off the rails now.
Were we ever on the rails? That's the question.
Somebody call in and get us back.
Third
on the
rail,
rails,
maybe.
please.
Yeah, 813-618-7099. Take the show over.
Oh, we have it happening right now. Beans and Dice Podcast. State your name. Where are you calling from?
Tim from South Bend, Indiana.
Hello, Tim.
Let me just say, you guys rock. I love the banner. I love the conversation.
Somebody does.
I did feel personally attacked last week when you guys were dogging Marvel Remix, so that kind of hurt my feelings.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Red Rising is bad, and
yes.
Fantasy Realms is good but ugly, and Marvel Remix is so much easier to teach because of the tags. I'm just saying. That's my opinion.
That's your opinion. Okay, got it.
So is that the same people that did Fantasy Realms and all that?
Yeah. There's a Star Trek version of Fantasy Realms as well, but I haven't played that one.
Yeah, I heard that one was horrible.
I think it's WizKids, if I'm right.
Yeah.
Yeah, WizKids. Yep.
Okay. Yep.
And then, what else? I had something else. Oh, I didn't like Shelfie Stacker. We played that. One of my friends backed it, and we played it when he first got it, and everybody liked it but me. But that's fine.
Yeah, I agree. It was okay. I can live with that.
It makes sense. You like Marvel Remix. I can understand.
Oh, there you go.
Whoa. Wow. Shots fired.
Shots fired. Totally fair. Totally fair. Some games on my shelf of shame. I already mentioned that Night of the Living Dead is Zombicide is on my shelf of shame. I got Marvel Zombie Side also on my shelf of shame. And then an older one on my shelf of shame is Great Western Trail. Have it and Shrink.
That's a good one.
I don't know, Robert. You and I were both underwhelmed
It's another one of those that I liked it the more I played it. Tapestry is the other one that famously jumps to my mind. Tapestry I really didn't like that much.
Tapestry's good.
Yeah, the first time I played it, but as I played it more and more and more, I've grown to love Tapestry. I've grown to pretty close to love Great Western Trail.
Really?
Yeah,
I haven't given it a chance since Gregory drove up from Bradenton and taught us
to tell us why we were playing it wrong, or why, because we told him we didn't like it. So he drove up and like 2-hour drive to come up here to show us why we were wrong.
And I still walked away with
I think I'm kind of with Rob too. Is like both Tapestry and Great Western Trail. Like the first time I played it, I was like, I don't get it. And then the more I played them, I'm like, oh, okay, now I'm starting. Now, okay, all right, I'm getting it now. Yeah. So it definitely.
The thing about Tapestry is the rule book was so bad. Like learning that sucker out of the rule book was not fun.
Yeah.
But once we learned how to play it, it was good. And then anybody that we've ever taught the game is like, oh, this is really good. And it's like, yeah, because you didn't have to learn it from the rule book.
Yeah, there you go.
everybody else that learned it from the rule book had to grow to like it.
Yep.
But,
I can appreciate that. Yeah,
no, Tim,
right.
You've got a valid point there, because the Tapestry rulebook is I think not fair. It's not fair because I felt like they purposely kept it to 4 pages.
It was very brief.
Just to make it 4 pages.
To be able to say, look how simple my game is. It's a 4-page rule book. It needed more than that. And I think Shelfie Stacker suffer from a little bit of that as well.
I
don't know who wrote the Shelfie Stacker rule book, but they went very narrative. They went almost to the levels of like Space Truckers. Space Truckers, right?
oh,
Galaxy
right.
Trucker.
Galaxy Truckers. You know that style? I can't remember who it was. It was writing those rulebooks at the time. That style, that narrative, like I'm talking to you and I'm joking with you. I'm breaking the fourth wall.
Chavato.
Yes, like Chavato did a lot of that.
Yeah.
I don't like that style of learning games where I'm not understanding where the difference is between the rules of the game and you giving commentary on the game.
Yeah, that makes it tough.
Right.
Valid point on Tapestry. With the rule book can impact your first impression of the game immensely.
With the latest expansion, though, they give you a whole new rule book for all the expansions. Like everything is condensed into a single book.
Are they selling it separately, like Scythe? Because I bought that book separate.
No, it's not nearly that thick of a book. It's I think it comes with the latest expansion where it's all the expansions, all the little things have been fixed, as far as like spelling errors and grammatical, and I think it's been cleaned up a lot. So
now
I'm going to back on what. Oh, go on.
No, go Tim, go.
Yeah, the show is yours for 10 minutes whenever you call. So you're the host, Tim.
I do my own thing all the time. You could talk.
Now I think we're gonna have Tim is from Board Game Rundown, and Mike. They're gonna come on the show in the next couple of weeks and join us. But I'm gonna prep Carlos. I think Tim is a fan of Clash of Cultures. So
wow, could you be more wrong?
No, not a fan. It is a game I want.
Oh, okay.
Oh, there you go. You want
big distinction. Big distinction.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. So, but Carlos can sell you on it.
Because I like that style of game.
I thought I would too.
But you did, Robert. You did. You did enjoy yourself.
No, I didn't. I did not. Anyway, go ahead, Tim.
No. I was just gonna say, like you guys were talking about last week about Stonemayer kind of has been like real hit or miss, lately, and I really agree with you guys a lot on that. I loved Between Two Castles and Mad King Ludwig. Thought that was awesome. Wingspan, I just got cold on. I thought it was fine when it came out, but I also thought it was kind of overhyped. And then Red Rising, I didn't love. My buddy backed the deluxe version. He's colorblind, so those colors were problematic for people that aren't colorblind.
Big time.
I'm not even colorblind, and those colors were problematic.
Right. It made it like unplayable for him. He actually, I think, swapped out like a bunch of components just so he had a playable copy of the game. And then I thought their Libertalia reprint was fine. I kind of had hoped for more, but it wasn't the end of the world or whatever. But I thought Apiary looked really cool, and then I listened to you guys talk about it, and I'm like, ooh, I'm kind of nervous now. Like,
Yeah, I can't blame you for. You heard
we've
the
had
show.
time to simmer.
Yeah, you heard our talks, but yeah.
I've watched some reviews now. I've watched some how to plays after we've played it.
So have you changed your opinion?
I don't know if I'm ever going to rush to play it again.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a solid game though. It's a good game.
It's got good mechanics. It's got good bones. It's a Stonemaier thing. I mean, I can feel Euphoria and some other things in it, but yeah.
I think what's interesting is I actually mulled it all week. We were talking about like Stonemaier last week's conversation. I'm like, are we judging his games and his company on a different scale than we would other companies? Because of his success and his openness and his friendliness, do we expect, like, is it like already, like, if all of these games came out from any other company, are we judging them less?
I'm going to say yes.
Harshly.
I judge them more harshly. I think so. And it's probably not fair, but when I see a new Stonemaier game come out, I get excited. And
you're expecting a 9-10, and then when you get a 7-8, you're like, oh, this sucks. And it's always,
if it's a 7-8, it feels like a 6. Yeah.
But again, you can't.
Yeah, I think.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Tim.
No. I was probably just going to agree with you. I think there's that all that goodwill, right, with Stonemaier, because I personally do love Euphoria, and then I've kind of gotten tired of Scythe because I feel like it's almost solvable, like there's perfect plays inside, at least in base game.
Yep.
And so if you are new or you haven't played it in a while and you're playing it with somebody who loves Scythe and lives and breathes that game, you don't have a chance.
Yeah.
There's just no way. Right. And
that was the last time I played it. I joined an online tournament during COVID.
You thought you were good at Scythe.
Oh Lord!
And I think I streamed like the first 2 matches.
Oh, you did.
They were bad.
And never again.
Oh Lord!
Those were over quick.
Oh Lord! Man,
the Tapestry's almost the same way too, right?
Well, Tapestry though, yeah, and no. I think Tapestry, I don't know. It doesn't feel solvable to me. I've tried a bunch of different strategies with it and had pretty good success. But I think that's one that, like, one of the first ones to my knowledge that came out, everybody was hyped for. They got it and they're like, "What the F is this?" And didn't like it. I think a lot of it was because of the rule book.
Were you watching us?
When we played it.
Like, that's literally our first game.
Yeah.
Like, we walked out of it like, what the was this?
Yeah.
I remember you guys playing that game.
We were like, I was like, 4X no, this isn't 4X.
Yeah. There was a lot of misconception there.
Well, by X, they meant tracks.
4 tracks. 4T.
But the production values are always good. You know what I mean? The customer service is always good.
Oh yeah.
He's a great dude. Yeah, everybody's pulling for him.
Yep.
But
the best cookies this side of the Mississippi. I'm just saying.
Yeah, cookies.
Those cookies were amazing up in Missouri.
Yep.
Nice. But I do think he's held to like a sort of a different standard. And fair or not fair. I mean, there's going to be in any company, any designer, there's going to be people that are just blindly, they're going to love Jamie no matter what he puts out. They're going to buy it. They're going to support it. And that's awesome. Good for them. It's hard enough to make a living in in that hobby, in the industry. Yeah. So I definitely do not begrudge the man, that at all. But I guess I don't have to like everything, right?
Yeah.
And not everything can be a huge hit either. So
I think we came back to the point of like, while there's some games that aren't amazing in his catalog, there's 1 or 2 out of all of them that are just ones that, like, generally we all feel are like
flat,
not good, right? Like,
yeah,
Apiary is a very good game. It's a solid game.
Yeah.
Is it a hit? I don't know if it's a hit, but it's a good game. It's still a solid, fun game to play. I just don't know if in the world of 10,000 games coming out a year, it's not going to be the game that hits the table all the time. Excuse me, but it's a good game. There's not a million flaws with it.
Sweet.
Dead silence.
Yeah.
Do we lose him?
I don't know. We got.
I'm here. I was just listening.
All right, go. Yeah. So.
But anyways, I'll let you guys have your show back. I just wanted to call in and chime in, just tell you that some of the stuff, because I was actually listening to the audio version of last week's show today, and I was borderline gonna start throwing stuff on the Discord. And I was like, I'll wait. I'll wait. I'll see if I can get it on the call in.
I appreciate that.
See if
I
can
love it.
and derail it.
What's funny is like middle of the week, Rob, middle of the week, I'll get a phone call to the phone line. Like I imagine it's somebody listening to the podcast
On a Wednesday.
You know, it's like 8 a.m. on a Monday.
Oh.
Like I gotta tell him what I think.
Gotta get this out right now.
Yeah, that'll just be me because I was up too late the night before, you know, and then just like sleep dialing, like, oh yeah, they gotta get a piece of my mind. I gotta tell them what's going on.
That's great.
No, I think what's important is you understood the assignment. It is a call-in show, and you helped it be that. So Tim, we thank you for that.
Appreciate that.
Yeah,
Anytime.
I'd love to connect your audience with ours, and to connect your audience. I love what you did with Wayne.
Oh, yeah.
When he joined the show, the idea that you opened up your StreamYard for any of your
pop in and-
viewers to just pop in and join you. That's really that's risky, and I love it. That's because that's what we do here every week.
Well,
Yeah.
but when I found out you guys had a call-in show, like I literally like looked at my co-host Mike, and I'm like, how do we do that?
A little risky, but
Great. And yeah, it's bold, right? You don't know who's going to call. And honestly, I didn't call to like promote my own stuff. That's why I just said my name and my town. But no, like, I mean, that's the thing is you look around at the other content creators, you see what they're doing. You see, I mean, we're all just gamers, right? We love the hobby. We're passionate about it. And there's nothing better for me as a gamer than to get to share my favorite games and my experiences, you know, like whether you're playing at a store, at a meetup, at a convention, and you're like, this is my favorite game. Who's going to play it with me? You know, like I try to play it with people I don't know, that I don't play with all the time, just because, you know, you spread that love of the hobby and the stuff you love. And that's what you guys do, right? You let people call in, you let them, you know, spout out their opinions, whether they're right or wrong. Mine are mostly wrong, and that's fine. But
your interest
awesome.
in Clash of Cultures allows me to forgive your love of Marvel Remix.
and I believe there was also in the show this week there was some discussion of Blood Bowl on their channel, so that'll pick you up even more, Carlos.
Listen, I'm just saying there's a lot more people who have been touched by the Blood Bowl than you think who are in the board game industry. It's been around since the 80s for a reason.
Well, tell everybody where to find you. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, you're good, man. You're good. We are the Board Game Rundown. We're on YouTube. You can find us there. We do a live stream every Wednesday. We call it Whiskey Wednesday. Wayne did mention that earlier. Thank you, Wayne. But we do a Whiskey Wednesday. We have some beverages. We're kind of working through top 100 games right now, but we do random lists. We have guests on. We play games. We drink. And we get derailed with whatever we feel like talking about.
Nothing wrong with any of that.
Sounds like us.
Listen, I'm like watching you guys' show, and I'm like, man, who started first? Because did we copy them by accident? Did I say something and not remember it? But no, you guys are crushing it. I'm really enjoying what you guys do. Thank you, Wayne, because Wayne came on as a friend for our Friendsgiving episode, and I didn't even know he had a show. Yep. And then when
I don't have a show, I'm just a guest on him,
like,
Carlos.
Well, you know, he's on a show. I'm like, Wayne, you don't have a choice. You got to tell me about the show, man. Like, tell everybody what's going on. Like, I want to, like, let's do it. So I just didn't come on to promote, but thank you for the opportunity. I just wanted to come on and share be a caller, be a part of it.
We appreciate it
in that way.
Tim, I look forward to the collaboration.
Baby, man.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm just trying to create my own game group here.
Yeah, for sure.
Doing our own party games. I'm looking forward to the collaboration. When you join the show, I'd love to see your viewers actually calling in and talking to y'all in the same way that our viewers do. So y'all name the date. You name the Thursday. Every Thursday right now is open. Nobody's booked a Thursday.
Yeah.
So you name the Thursday.
Have you guys on, and we'll just take calls. And if y'all are willing to talk to people, we'll just have people call in and talk to you.
And we'll do that, man. And then you guys are going to have to squeeze onto our show sometime. Some Wednesday.
Sweet.
You're all invited. You're
Anytime.
all welcome.
Nice.
And the only rule is you got to pick the topic or the top 5, and then everything else is just Wild West.
Yeah, no problem.
Oh, you actually have a plan?
Oh,
I don't even have a plan, bro. I just turn on the cameras and open the phone line.
It's sort of like a loose amalgamation of rules. Is it?
And what's great is it's so the opposite of Wayne. Like Wayne is such a planner and an organizer, and I am so far ADD from that. Even Mike, I remember Mike when Mike was here live with us. Like I could see it like hurting his soul.
Yep.
Like no plan. Let's just go.
What's our topic tonight? What are we doing?
I have no clue. Turn on the phones.
That's the best, dude. That's the best. I love it.
Appreciate you, Tim.
You guys rock. Keep it up. I'm going to watch the rest from my bed as I goes off to sleep. But keep up the good work, and we'll see you soon.
Have a good evening.
Good night.
Thank you. Day night.
Thanks, Tim. See you, man.
That was fun.
That was cool.
Yeah.
Good job, Wayne. Way to get us out there and get the community joined
hey.
together.
No, and I tell you what, now I think Tim probably knows how I felt. Like I joined their Friendsgiving episode. I'm like, and they're like, "Hey, you have a show. You should promote it." I'm like, "No. I'm a fan of your show. I comment on your show. I'm just here as a friend." Like, no. You have to promote your show. So it's like, that's the thing.
I love that.
A lot of board game content community is just like we're all just gamers. No one's making money on this. We're just looking for fun. BS and
There's a couple of nights.
Some are,
Yes, a
but
couple.
not us. Not us. Yeah.
the overwhelming majority are in it for the fun, in it for the community, in it for the friendships, and it's like we're all just similar, right? We're all just gamers that want to share our experiences, and that's what's great about it. And I think that's what it goes back to me joining this show as a caller 2 years ago, a year ago now, whatever it was. And you're like, hey, you live in Tampa. I live in Tampa. You live in Lutz. I live in Lutz. Let's just come on over. And, And like, so now it's like,
Oh, I was like, are you sure?
Just
Do you know this guy?
you know this guy? My wife's the same way. You're just going to go over to this guy's house?
You don't know who that Carlos.
Can you imagine if it was at the old house? Like, yeah, we're right off like 22nd Street.
Yeah. a little rough around that side, but
no, that's what it is.
No, it's great that we had a lot of folks that would show up.
yeah.
We got Aaron Clark in the chat talking Stonemaier Games. Stonemaier Games is a good example of everyone having different taste in games, yet they have been incredibly successful. True. 3 games in the top 100 on BGG. Almost all of their games fall in the top 1,000. A miss for them is a huge hit for a lot of other companies.
Sure.
Yeah.
Nice call out, Aaron.
Yep.
Way to keep us grounded and like level.
That's what I'm saying,
Yeah.
Like, but I wanted to say it because I didn't want to interrupt Tim. I want his 10 minutes. With Stonemaier and the expectations that we set for them, and maybe this is me overstepping a little bit, but it's like with family and with close friends. Like you kind of expect more, right? Like I know what you're capable of, son. Right? This isn't cutting it. Like it could be better. So like with Stonemaier, I feel like. We've met him. We've enjoyed time with them.
Had tacos.
We've had tacos with him.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, like okay, I'm okay. I'm okay with saying I expect more.
Yeah.
I think just the theme change for Apiary, like
It was weird.
theme really matters
really
to
it.
me.
Yeah, it was a little weird.
And you're not a
I'm
theme
I'm
guy.
not a theme guy, but it was still weird. Yeah, I'm a mechanics guy, and the mechanics
even
were
you
solid.
said if it was set in
Nature.
in the forest,
Nature.
nature, you're growing your own. Yeah.
why take
it
bees
really-
to space? I mean, why?
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah. Well, I guess why not? Yeah.
No, why not?
Hello, Chad. Welcome to the show. Thanks for popping in. Chad has some awesome shirts. Chad, plug in where they can find your merch, your shirts that you do, your geeky goodness shirts.
Yeah.
Actually, Christmas is coming up. Chad, when's the last moment that we can order
And still get them in.
to still get them in? Post that up for us because we're doing budgets in the Cabrera household for Christmas,
There you go.
and they're asking me what I want.
Those shirts are nice.
They are some nice geeky shirts.
In the new year, we need to figure out how to get some more beans and dice stuff. I need a jersey.
Oh yeah.
We need to do a reorder of jerseys.
Yeah.
I know that this was like something I just threw together.
No, William wanted one at one point. So, yeah.
But do we do hockey? Do we do football?
Oh, yeah, we do something.
Do we
different.
do
Yeah, mix it up?
Ooh, yeah.
What other sports are there?
Figure skating.
And
yeah.
I said
Tim said, my wife-
leotards.
That's why I put it out there. Come on. Well, mine tight right in this area.
Awesome.
Tim throwing out my wife's the same way. So as far as my wife and your wife going, are you sure you're just gonna go to this random guy's house?
Oh yeah, just go over to. I'm gonna go to this guy's house and do a show. Yeah.
Aaron Clark says he agrees. He does expect more. I'm a huge fan of Stonemaier, but I've had disappointing games: Libertalia, Red Rising, Pendulum.
There you go.
I don't know if I'd call Libertalia a disappointment.
Because it was a
I think
redo.
that's another one
or
where the
because,
retheme is with the problem, right? Like I
Yes.
like the new rules.
It was weird. Yeah,
But the
took it into what
retheme
they-
missed. So just like
Yeah.
Apiary, the retheme missed.
That and that sucked because I love Palomari. Like I have a
Yeah.
whole shelf of Palomari. Like he's
Italian.
my man.
Yep.
And I was really hoping for the Dark Pirates just with some refresh rules,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
it got too pretty.
Yeah, board game. So Dice Tower's board game smorgasbord today. There's the guy, I forget his name, who does the theme game. Does the theme fit the mechanics segment? And he actually did Red Rising today, and he basically said, yeah, the it's Red Rising. It maybe fits the books if you read the books, but it's really just Fantasy Realms, right? Or is that what it, yeah. And he's like, yeah, it doesn't really fit, right? You just
With
do
some
it
other
as-
mechanics, but yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it adds a board and some other things to Fantasy Realms. Fantasy Realms is just a card game, but yeah, it was the same base idea. Yeah, see Aaron's question there. I mean, we've talked about this on and off. I don't know if we want to get into it now, but
I still haven't figured out a way. Like, hey, listen, I wouldn't mind support. Like,
Yeah.
this stuff costs
Just paying
money.
for a few things here
The
and there.
StreamYard costs money.
Yeah.
I buy the extra internet to be able to do this.
Yeah.
So there is a
Challenge.
cost to it. I just don't know how, and I'm not.
Start an online store, man.
The last thing I want to do is have to put something down on taxes. Like, I don't need the tax man after me. Like,
did you claim that?
The G man coming after me is the last thing I want.
Trust me,
You
you're not
got to
gonna
make
enough
over
to make that tax
$500 a year.
I do not want to go down like
paying
Wesley
on your taxes.
Snipes. Okay,
You'll be all right
I'm
for
not
a
going to
while.
jail for nobody.
Tax evasion.
I have made it this long in my life without going to jail. That's the last
Just think
thing
of all the
I
stuff
want
you
to
could
do.
write off.
Yeah,
See?
see, agrees. The jerseys are legit. There we go. So,
Yeah.
nah, man,
Baseball.
It's
Baseball.
Yeah.
I will hook it. I will look into it over the holiday break. I'm off for a couple of weeks.
There you go.
Yeah,
I can say my accountant told me.
Yeah, my
Who's
wife
your accountant? Wayne.
I still got a stack of those T-shirts at home. My wife keeps telling me, "You got to get those on out there somewhere." I was like, "Okay, we got to set something up." Yeah.
Chat says 1 to 2 weeks to ship.
Okay, for those shirts.
Yeah, so 2
Okay.
weeks. I guess like next week will be the last week you have.
Only what, about
to order
3
for
weeks
Christmas.
Whew. Yeah, coming up quick.
Chad, let the folks at home know where they can find the shirts. I know you posted it in the Discord. I don't know if it works in the YouTube, but you can try. Topics, where we at?
Yeah,
we
we
did
got-
Shelfie
we got-
Stacker. Let's see.
Less than 30 minutes.
Man, that was time's flying.
Yeah.
I know. Jodak did ask if we were doing our top 20 list, but
Okay, so
We
Robert
talked
and I
about
were
it.
talking
We
about
talked about
that
it a little bit.
before the show.
I did have two. I did have two new ones to my list this month, but it was really one came back on. And I had one new. So
Should we hit them quick?
Should we dedicate next week to updating top 20 and just kind of like get
the
it
whole
over
show
with?
will be the top 20?
Because it's like
I
the
got
last
a lot
few of the month.
changes online because I
All right,
haven't
so
done. I haven't
let's-
updated
okay.
mine in a
I
while.
haven't thought
Firm
about
it up
mine.
right now.
Okay.
We will
Easy
do.
now.
Promise. Firm it up. It's after 10 o'clock.
It is after 10 o'clock.
Yeah. Eastern.
So it's after dark with Beans and Dice. We will put it in writing using a pencil, of course. That way I can erase it if I need to. We will update our top 20 board this week for November past.
Okay.
We'll do that next week for you folks. Top 20 board, which is behind me. Top 20 games played in 2023. We will update that for you.
Yeah, Chad, it doesn't look like it did come through. So if you posted it, I don't know
Yeah,
if
if
there's
you get
another
it
way
to-
to
probably just
fake the system
everyone
out to get it in there.
get to our Discord and we'll get it
Yeah.
out there on the Discord again.
Push everybody
And
to the
so
Discord.
we have a couple of new viewers tonight. So what the top 20 list is, instead of doing like top 10 favorite games of all time or whatever, what we've been doing this year, thanks to Carlos, is very similar. Actually, Carlos, why don't you explain real quick? Because you're the guy that knows the top
We started at the beginning of the year
January, yeah.
because I've never done a top 20 list or top 10 list even of my top played games. So we just started putting down on this magnetic board, almost like Top Gear. They have their cars ranked using magnetic tape. So as we played games, we would come to this board and we would on the board. Here, let me get this camera going here. On this board, there's Robert. Oh, look at I got my own Vanna White. Get it? White.
Oh wow.
So on this board, we put our games that we've played this year, and as you played a game, you were able to put a game on the board. If you played a game that's already on the board, you were allowed to move the game, but you couldn't move it just willy-nilly. You had to play it again in order to move it. And we started playing a whole bunch of games, and games have fallen off. We've got a bunch of magnetic tape laying on the floor somewhere with old games that have fallen off the board. So we've got to update, I think, October forward, Robert, if I'm right. We haven't updated October. You know, we had a baby in the Cabrera household. Rob's been going around doing the board game convention scene. So we just haven't had a chance to update it in the last couple months, but that's going to be the plan.
I think so. To clarify, it has to be a game you played this year, and as you play games, you can move games up and down and in and out, but you have to replay them. So if you play a game and you love it, you put it number one. and then you realize a week later that was the worst decision you ever made, you have to play that game again in order to move it off of number one, or play other games to move above it. So it's been fun. And
there's no rules on how you place them. It's just subjective on what you feel.
The joy
in your list.
The joy out of the game at the time. Yeah.
Enjoy at the time, yeah. And our Discord group and our bigger Beans and Dice community have really loved it. And so every month people have been posting their top 20 lists we have a channel for the top 20 list in our Discord channel. So we can see just it's games played. So it could be old games, could be new games, could be whatever. And it's been interesting to see it move around during the course of the year. So
before we move on to other topics, Mike, Wayne, do y'all have anything that you wanted to hit before the show was up? And 813-618-7099 is the number. Phone lines are still open. We're not done, folks. We're not done. So you call in, we still take a call.
No, the one thing I had was the one thing I had was the MCDM like the D&D replacement Kickstarter. We talked to that with Ron, and then I posted in Discord, but I've gotten 5 or 6 new games in the last week. Not new games, but old games that I've bought.
Nice.
So,
Mike, out in Seattle, any topics that you had for the folks before I hit the list?
Well, I played a few games recently. I mean, are we talking about that or
whatever you want to talk about? Dude.
All right. I mean, I finally one of my Shelf of Shame games got played.
I saw that post, and I told Robert about it when he got here.
Which one?
Mike updating his count for Shelf of Shame. He said,
yeah.
-1,
yeah,
plus 4.
or plus 4. Yeah. Ended up a +3. Yeah. Way to do it. That's the way to do it.
Well, that one, I got the 4 small box all play games and the Trick Takers. So I mean, so I got 4 at one shot on that one. But as far as the one that I got played was Pagan. I forget the rest of the name. I got to look it up. But
subtitle.
Yeah, the subtitle. Fate of Roanoke. Or Roanoke.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Virginia?
Virginia?
Yeah.
Roanoke. Yeah, tied to the Virginia Roanoke.
Yeah, 2-player only, and you're sitting across from the other player, and you're either playing the villagers, or you're playing like the witch that's trying to cast the spell, and you have I think it's nine villagers that are in front of you, in between the two of you, and you are playing cards, and you're playing your. It is a worker placement, and if you put your worker in front of one of the villagers, then when the other person takes their turn, they can't put their workers there. So it is a true worker placement type game in that regard. But each villager will give you a certain action that you can do for that turn, and as if you're on the villager side, you are trying to figure out which one of the villagers the witch is, and you have a chance of killing off one of the villagers in the hopes that you're gaining clues as you go along, but you're trying to kill off the right person before you kill 3 of the wrong people, because as soon as you kill the 3rd wrong person, then you lose. What the witch is trying to do is trying to, I forget the word that they use, but basically cast a spell or somewhat. And if she gets X number of influence on a particular person, then, and she has to do it on, or the witch has to do it on the person that she drew. It's like a secret, one of the 12. She looks at it, boom, puts it down. So there's a lot of bluffing going on where, if you're the witch, you obviously don't want to load up the one person that you are, because but there's like all these little like side locations and other powers that you can gain as you go along that add to it. And this one had been on my Shelf of Shame for a little while, and my friend that's 100% into like Trick Takers, he's like, let's get together and play some 2-player games. And this was the first one. He got it as well. He learned it, and pretty easy teach for the most part. And it was like off to the races. And it was something that I picked up. Like sometimes games I pick up immediately. Sometimes it's like I feel like a 2-year-old playing, TI4, and I picked it up really quick, and I mean, it was very competitive from the first game. So I like games like that. Sometimes you come across games where you're like, you really got to play it 2 or 3 times to get a good strategy going. This one, I felt I had a pretty strong strategy from the get-go on the first play, which doesn't happen too often. So I really like the game, and there's a lot of expansions for it that 100% swap out your deck for totally different powers and things that you can do, and even the villagers can get swapped out 100%. They give you different powers as you go along. So I'm very much looking forward to getting this back to the table. Like, I think
check
this
it out on
one's
BGG here. I like the art style. That's kind of a unique.
yeah, the art
interesting
style is really neat. Yeah.
Yeah.
But what happens if I kill? Let's say I burn your target. If you're the witch and you had a target, I'm like, burn that person.
Right. If you kill the right person, then you win.
Pagan Fate of
What's the name
Roanoke
again? I'll get it up on.
Okay, so I could win the game by figuring out who you're trying to hex. I don't have to kill you directly. I have to kill your target.
Correct. And you're placing, there's a lot more to the game, and by me explaining it the way I did, you could be thinking this is a very easy game. But there's a lot of working up, putting your tokens in front of certain people, and you have to have X number in front of this person in order to do this. And over time, you also have a deck of cards that the witch didn't. Obviously, the witch's card is in her pile, but you have a pile of cards that over time you're gaining enough strength. You're spending your boots or whatever to look at the card from that pile, and obviously the cards are whatever's left over that the witch isn't. So you are slowly narrowing down who the witch isn't, and also taking chances on, offing villagers thinking, this is the old days. So you're like, that's the witch, and burn them at the stake.
Burn the witch.
Right.
Right.
So you can make mistakes. And, again, if you kill 3 of the wrong people, then you obviously lose. So
if we burn you and you don't die, we know you're a witch.
There you go. Right. If you don't drown,
the witch is
you come up to the surface, you're the witch. And if you don't, we know you're not the witch.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a Star Wars Rebellion thing going here with that 2-player hidden, not location, but like a hidden target. Kind of a feel.
Yeah. You're kind of narrowing down, who's who and where they could possibly be hiding. That's a good picture with the mat there. I actually have the mat, and
it's kind of got that middle row of cards that you're pulling from, even. So it's like that Star Wars deck building game too, where there's that where you can buy cards from the middle. But in this case, you're trying to find out in the middle which one's the witch. Yeah.
Right. And if you try and kill somebody and it's not the person, then the card flips over, and you have one. And the cool thing about that is if you kill somebody off, you may want to do that on purpose if the other person is utilizing that person's power all the time and possibly snagging that spot from you, you can take that person out, and now they no longer have that power to use, So
I know they're innocent, but true.
Yeah, right.
The schoolboy keeps feeding them information. It's time to kill that schoolboy off.
Right. Take him out.
He's a witch.
Yeah. So
end up in ditches.
Yeah. So this one is definitely going to make my top 20 for next week.
Wow.
It's very morbid, very in line with your taste, Mike.
Yeah. I mean, I think I'm probably on the darker side of games,
Bloody End. And,
I tend to be on the darker side. You're on the darker side of games.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Yeah. Skin wise, So anyway, yeah, this was one of the 3 games that we played over the weekend.
I think I like Rob. I like that art style. It's pretty nice.
It's different. Yeah.
Yeah. It's different. Like that thick black outline, cartoonish look to it.
Kind of like a watercolor for the coloring, so not like
more blended,
not ink cells, more like
like a gradient, more gradient mixing. Yeah,
it looks
very
like
cool game. I recommend it especially if you're into head-to-head type games, because it is 2-player. Well, I think you can solo it, but for 2-player games, this is up there for me.
Cool.
Really good game.
Looks like a little 3D printed insert there. Speaking of right over your right shoulder.
Oh yeah, man. I've been printing a lot of things out lately.
Nice.
Shachel is Roanoke. So anyway, that's the one game. I'll touch on the other game probably next week. That I really liked. Also, that was a 2-player only game.
Nice. All right. What's new for you, Carlos?
Well, no, that's kind of in line with some of the topics that I wanted to talk about.
Okay.
Mike, you talked about the two-player aspect of the game, and Stonemeyer did their demographic survey. Accept all your.
Oh yeah.
And they did talk about player counts and how two-player was one of the higher selected player counts. Jamie Stegmaier had talked about on the show how he does focus on and will put more focus on trying to make sure that his games are enjoyable, playable, and balanced at the two-player count.
Then he goes on to say, and 3-player, and 4-player, and
And
5
five.
players. So, I mean, he covers all the bases there.
He did. You watched it too. He did. He did say up to 5. So I'm going to focus on 2 and 3
and 4.
and 4.
5. So covering all the bases.
But it is important to make a game. I think it's important to make a game good at 2 players. So that's part of the demographic. But some of the stuff that stood out for me on that demographics conversation in his survey was 59% of respondents said that on their shelf of shame, in line with our topic tonight, on their shelf of shame was a heavy game. Like that seemed to be one of the biggest indicators of if a game ever got played was how heavy the title was. I could see that.
I think a majority of mine are heavy games, definitely.
Yeah. You can usually only table those with certain groups, and so your lighter games you can do a lot more casually, obviously with family and other things, but you got to really find the right group of gamers, heavier gamers who are going to enjoy those bigger games.
And the time to learn it.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
I haven't had a chance to read this yet. By heavy, is he talking about like BGG weight, or is he including like legacy games? Or
There was a different
campaign games?
conversation about campaign games. That was my second insight. Thank you for the
Thanks for
segue
stealing
there.
the thunder weight.
Yeah, you stole my thunder. The second
sorry.
insight was 77% of players said they played 2 or fewer campaign games in 2023.
Yeah.
So less, 2 or less campaign games in 2023.
That's not too surprising for me. I mean, campaign games, a lot of people don't play a bunch of campaign games. I mean, you get a couple in a year, I think you've done something. So yeah.
I have, I think, 5 or 6 campaign games on my shelf of shame. Well, no, I take that back. Probably about 4. 2 of them I played this year. 1 I kept, 1 I got rid of because I knew I wasn't going to like it going forward. But yeah, and those are, and I don't know, I could be stealing your thunder here again, but how many of those legacy or campaign games were finished? That's the other thing.
Right, because I just said how many you played, and I know I played more than that in campaign games.
I've done 5 or 6, but I don't know if I finished any of them. No.
and I don't know if I will. And that's
I plan to, but yeah.
Well,
see,
we all
Robert
planned it.
That's the difference between me and
Robert
you,
commits
yeah.
through the suck.
Oh yeah, no, I commit.
Like even if
I started, we're
even
getting
if the
through it.
campaign sucks, we're gonna finish
I'm
it.
gonna finish it.
I'm more like the moment I have a bad experience,
You're done.
This game's over.
Yeah.
Oh, you're dead to me.
Yep.
Well, Rob has an excuse because he's actually played through Gloomhaven. So that
of it.
says
Yeah.
a lot right there. That
a lot.
takes, I'm sure,
Some dedication.
And it
very
wasn't
small
enough. It
group
wasn't
of
enough
people
haven
have
for
finished
him.
Oh
it.
no, I'm Frosthaven.
He had to find another haven.
Yeah.
He moved to the Frost
We
Haven.
did the expansion too. So we did the Gloomhaven expansion. We did all that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's dedication.
And
I'm-
it's getting a group that can dedicate to something like that. Me, Nick, and
Yeah.
Joe. It's been great having those 2 guys who were willing to do that for 2 years and then commit to Frosthaven for another couple years. So yeah.
Wow.
My wife and I are stalled halfway through Jaws of the Lion. We just can't get back
No.
to the table.
I haven't played in the last couple of weeks, but yeah, me and my daughter are trying to get through that one. So yep.
No, I really tried to get through the zombie teen game or the zombie kids game.
Kids.
Zombie
And,
kids?
you know, yeah,
Oh, I
I
thought
got
you were,
about halfway
you were
through.
raving about that one. Weren't
Yeah,
you?
he loved it. For a while.
No,
What happened to that one?
it fell behind the shelf and I couldn't find it for the longest time. Literally, that's what happened. I just found it like last week.
It's
So
so
bad.
behind the shelf of shame.
But now the kid's like a year older, so it is a very light kids game. So he's 12 now. Will he want to finish it? I don't know.
Yeah,
So
well,
it's like
you can-
one of those
you gotta-
things. Like if a tree falls in the forest, does it actually make noise? If
Yeah.
if Carlos's shelf
behind the
of shame
shelf.
game falls behind the shelf, does it really count as a shelf of shame game?
So what I haven't quite finished Zombie Kids Evolution with mine. We're 80% through probably. What'll happen is he'll remember the game, and be like, oh, let's play that, and we'll play like 6 or 7 games in a row and complete a couple little milestones, and then we were done with it for the day. Because you can complete 6 or 7 games in an hour of that. It's really quick. It's 10-15 minutes a game, easy. And then we'll put it on the shelf for like 2-3 months, and then like he'll be like, oh, that zombie game, let's bust that out again. So it's like it's probably 60 to 80 games, and so we'll do like 10 games every 2 months, and so we'll be done with it probably by early
by the time he gets married.
No, by the early next year we'll be done with it probably.
And then at what phase of the gaming hobby would you say you are in? Majority of respondents, that's like 51%, said they are refining and enhancing their collection. But then a big group, 17%, said they are growing their collection, followed by 15% that say they are saturated and completed. So that's interesting. The refining aspect, that would be I think the stage that Wayne, would you describe that? You're calling to refine,
kind of like 1 game in, 1 game out, or I've added 5 games. I need to figure out 3 or 4 games to probably get rid of. Yeah,
you're not downsizing. You're just trying to maintain. Like you're picking the best.
I looked at it. I'm at like 350 as far as board games, and another 200 or something expansions. I'm not going to grow past that. So it'll be kind of maintaining or shrinking at this point.
Got anything there, Mike? Any idea what piece of the pie?
I've got 1 foot in the downsizing and 1 foot in the growing collecting. I think I'm stepping out of the growing collecting one. Though.
1 game played, 3 new ads.
Yeah, 1 out,
more
3
like
in.
More like one toe in one.
Yeah, the thing is I'm not. I mean, granted, I say this and I'm contradicting myself as soon as even before I'm saying it, I'm contradicting myself. I'm trying not to physically buy games. I found that one Grail game that was a good deal with Dogs of War. I couldn't pass that up because that's a Grail game. But like, I've walked into board game stores where I would normally, oh, that looks cool. I'll just pick it up just in case I feel like playing it. Where I have stopped doing that. And really the only games that I'm getting in are from past Kickstarters that I backed, So, and which is also causing me to downsize more because I am really limited with my space where I'm at currently, which I'm kind of glad of. It's forcing me to kind of get rid of that. I got to hold on to this game for that one time that I may play it. It's finally getting through to me like, you're never going to play these games. And if you ever did want to play it, you can always pick it up at another time. Like, just get it out of your, you don't need it right this second. So, So anyway, that's where I'm at.
I think the greatest thing that ever happened to me was when, so I didn't do Kallax shelving. I used the Besta shelves from IKEA. And I know I've mentioned it before, but they discontinued the color of my shelves. So I can't buy more shelves and have them, be the same color. And I know Carlos doesn't care about that kind of stuff, maybe, but like me, I have to be.
I mean, look around, you see like 18 different versions of
shades of Kallax. And
have you seen the inside of his Champions of Midgard box for crying out loud?
I remember your face when you saw the Altoids tin with the gold tokens that smelled like cinnamon.
It hurts.
Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah, that was a cool article. Gamer. I didn't know he put that. I knew I got an invite to it, but I never got around to filling it out.
He even talked about that. He said how it went down. It was like 4,500 respondents last year.
Yeah.
But he also had somewhere around $500 worth of gift cards that he was offering. $500 gift cards.
Yeah.
So he got like 4,500 respondents last year. And he wasn't sure how that would impact the results. So this year he did not do the, put in the responses and get put in the raffle. And he only got maybe 1,800, somewhere in that.
So it was like 15 or 16, 17, 18.
Yeah, not quite 2,000 respondents back, so less than half of the respondents. However, he did talk about how he didn't see a major change in the responses from last year to this year. So that did tell him he was concerned that by offering the gift cards raffle
incentive,
that people were just throwing in any responses in there, which
filling it out.
But because the responses were in line, it gave people incentive to provide their real feedback because it was in line with feedback that wasn't incentivized.
Oh,
that makes sense. English, not my first language.
We know what you're talking about.
Yep. Yeah.
Very cool.
That was Stonemeyer. What else do I have on here?
What you got on the list?
Heat expansion.
Oh, yeah.
The torrential rains expansion.
For all the Heat lovers out there.
Love me some Heat. Not much to say. Not much to go off of right now.
How do you feel about it? Like, what do you? Have they even talked about like what's in it other than the cover and the title?
Man vs. Meeple did an episode today. I think it dropped today, and they talked about what they did know.
Okay.
And they said
adding another player.
Yep. So it adds orange,
right?
As you can see on the cover here, Juvia Torrent. I don't know if that's Italian.
Torrential rain.
It's torrential rain.
Yeah.
Torrential.
Yeah. So, and it adds Fiji. It adds the Japanese track. And
cool.
In the Japanese, I'm gonna see if I can zoom in here.
Okay, so yeah, there is some stuff.
A little bit out there. Yeah.
So do you see these areas of water here? These puddles.
Yeah.
In the event that you get a weather condition that makes that stage have to deal with rain, those puddles come into play and make you spend extra stress for the corners. So you get more stress on those corners. So it adds more modifiers for rain. It really reminds me of the movie Rush, the whole story of Niki Lauda versus James Hunt, and that final race in Japan with the torrential downpour, and they're drilling holes in their helmets to try to keep the fog out of their helmets, and the pouring rain, everyone's dying because of the rain and all the wrecks. So it seems like they are playing to that sentiment, that F1, that old 60s F1 sentiment, by providing the Japanese track, which is where that actual race occurred, in the torrential rain, which tends to rain a lot in Japan on that track. So very, very themey for us race fans.
Yeah.
So I am excited for more maps. I am still looking forward to getting this as a campaign to the table once the holidays get past.
Yeah.
Getting some plays of this on Thursday nights.
Sounds good to me.
And orange. So now more players.
Orange.
And when you say more players, that increases the player count? Or...
Yes.
Yeah, by one.
Okay. All right, cool.
There was a couple. I think the base box had
6 to
room
7.
Yeah, room for a couple of more. So this is one
I think
more.
3 more colors.
Yeah.
There was 3 more car slots in
yeah.
the tray, the vacuum form tray, that are not filled.
So this fills one. So a couple more if people keep buying it.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to be a problem.
Probably not.
Flash that discount code up there for chat again. That was only up there for a quick second.
Yep. Let me get it. There we go.
Thank you, Wayne. Got it. And then what else was there? The Cascadia news of the roll and write. And I know, Mike, you were hot on roll and writes for a little while there.
Oh, yeah.
Is Cascadia the roll and write?
And the flip and right, 2 of them.
Something to get excited about?
Flip and roll and flip.
I'm not excited about roll and writes like I used to be. I don't know. I've kind of cooled on them, but I still enjoy them. And the fact that it's Cascadia, it's kind of piqued my interest a little bit more than your average roll and write. I'm curious to know what the mechanics are and how it plays.
Yeah.
Looking at the board there, I mean, it looks
like half of the others.
It looks like Cascadia, and it looks like a lot of the others. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to hear how it plays, because there is one a roll and write and one's a flip and write, or are they both like involving cards and dice? It looks like they're involving both.
Cascadia is expanding its award-winning series of nature-themed board games with a pair of flip and roll and write titles that each focus on different biomes of the Pacific Northwest environment. Pacific Northwest. That's you, Michael.
Sounds like they're both
both.
Yeah.
Okay, so it says Think Railroad Inc. several different colored editions, but
yeah, I heard that.
Okay, interesting. All right. Yeah, so I may pick up one of those. I don't think it would be worth it for me to pick them.
You know what, though?
Up.
If they can, because my wife and I both love Cascadia. The one thing that keeps us from playing it more is table size. So needing a nice space to build your biome. Like, I would love to play this, while waiting for dinner, because Cascadia is pretty quick. So if this is something that you can play on a sheet of paper with just a few cards on the table, that would make my list, because the theme the idea of the play, I can take this anywhere travel wise at the playground while the kids are playing, without having to be like a full table size.
The flip and the roll, though, I guess concerned me a little bit. 'Cause now you're talking about dice and a deck of cards.
We know how you feel about that.
And your player sheets and everything. So
you might as well be playing Memoir 44, right?
It sounds like it's getting bigger. But
yeah, if you want to, on another topic, well, not another topic, but if you are looking for like a small roll and write game, look up Waypoints. It's a print and play, and all you need is dice. And it's a very cool looking game. It's like a topographical type map, and you're trying to make your way around. And it just came out. It was like a $5 Kickstarter, so you could easily pick that up from their website. And they have multiple maps too. If you're looking for something small that plays in a small area,
check that one out. Waypoints.
Yeah, Waypoints is very cool.
Okay, haven't heard of it.
I think one of my favorite small size roll and writes with limited table space is a Roll Through the Ages.
Roll Through the Ages, yeah.
Because it comes with these wood displays, these wooden display blocks with pegs to track all your resources, and one small sheet of paper.
Yeah,
and then you got these nice chunky dice that you can roll into the box covers. So for maybe a 6x4 size box, you get this 4-player roll and write that doesn't take up a lot of card. There's no cards. There's no decks to stack. Because I remember we tried to play, what was that? Flip and Fill Ripple Rush.
Ripple Rush, yeah.
We were at the Chili's,
Louisiana,
and at the bar, but the cards were going everywhere, and Rob was spilling drinks.
Oh, yeah. They were just walking off of the bar.
You can ask Dan. It was real.
Yeah. Anyway,
bartender was not happy.
No, she said, happens all the time. Quicks is the one I was thinking. I thought you were going to go to because that's even smaller. I mean, that's just some dice and
a small piece of paper
card. Yeah, and so that one's one you can really just put in your pocket and take just about anywhere, and you can buy it just about anywhere.
And then I think the last things I had, topic wise, man, I really wanted to watch that Napoleon movie and do like a game day with it, but then the reviews started coming in.
Was it not good? I haven't heard.
Not supposedly, good, yeah.
Yeah, all the action scenes that made me like the reason I want to see the movie because I want to think, oh, this is like my Napoleon War game that I have.
Yeah.
Everything you see in the trailers, that's it.
That's it.
Like those are, I think Max Burns chatted with me on the Discord and he said the battle scenes were like a newspaper headline. Like look, big battle, end scene, move on.
It's all story.
So it really didn't allow you to enjoy the full battle scene. It was just like a here's a quick highlight. This battle occurred. Cannons, fire, smoke, dead people, move on. And then all the reviews say that they went too big on the scope. Like they tried to put all of Napoleon in one movie.
He's a little guy.
Right.
You would know. It takes one to know one.
Exactly.
No, but like a lot of other Napoleon movies, like do snippets of his time. Yeah, they just do
because he was there for a while. The man, I think was exiled twice at one point.
Yeah.
So like he had huge stints of being the greatest general in the world, emperor almost. I think he crowned himself emperor. So I had high hopes for it. So that was a disappointment.
And see, if you ran that through your stream service, you wouldn't even know half the stuff he did.
There you go.
No, it'd be like credits, Joaquin Phoenix, and Gladiator 2, though. The new trailer that popped up for that. We're talking Pedro Pascal
Gladiator
and Denzel
2.
Washington. Gladiator Part 2.
I didn't see the trailer, but
Really?
I heard about it.
I've seen the trailer for that. No.
That's gonna make me want to whip
I gotta
out.
look
Oh, well,
that
this one's set in medieval times.
It's medieval. It
so
changes the time period.
it's kind of like the
Okay. Yeah.
the Western Roman Empire, right? Not so much Rome, ancient Rome, but like the Byzantine times.
They're milking
Knights.
the name there.
Yeah, they're
The
stretching
the Holy Roman Empire.
There we go. That's the words I'm looking for. The Holy Roman Empire, which I do have. Command and Colors, medieval, which is
Man
set.
and Cutters. That's about opening up your hair salon.
No, that's the emo.
The emo. I'm sad.
Command and Colors.
Oh no! Oh, bad, Rob. Bad.
Sorry.
Bad Rob.
We do not endorse
DC
Rob's
police will be
comments.
coming after us for that one.
It's after 11 now, so we moved into another layer.
Yeah. Speaking of movies that you could play board games based on, a movie that was relatively panned when it first came out, and I didn't like the first time I saw it, but I've watched it like 2 times this year. Not Dunkirk. It did not do well in theater really well, and the first time I watched it, I'm like, But the more I've watched it 2 more times this year, and I'm like, this movie is actually really good.
It's good.
You really pay attention to it. Yeah, it really is.
Well, okay, so good topic. What's his name? The director that helped me out here. Why am I missing it?
That was
Oppenheimer, Dunkirk. Same guy.
No,
same guy that did Dunkirk and Oppenheimer. Why am I missing it?
I don't know.
So we act like we don't have internet.
If only there
Oh, we
was
try not to rely on it, man.
Yeah.
Christopher Nolan.
Christopher Nolan. There's my man, Christopher Nolan. Like, okay, so Wayne, you talked about Oppenheimer. You watched it in theaters.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Right. I've had to watch it. I'm going. I'm on my second time completed watching it, and now I want to go for my third time, and it's because the same reasons for Dunkirk. Christopher Nolan seems to like to mess with timelines in his movies.
Oh man,
like
he does it so well.
So well that I don't even know where I am. Like, what am I watching? Is this the future? Is this the present? Is this the past? Come on, McFly, where am I at? I'm totally confused.
Yeah.
So I had to watch Oppenheimer twice just to really understand what timeline what occurred in.
Yep.
I haven't seen it yet.
Mr. G
Oh, William from the Nerdy Webs. Hey,
William.
William. Haven't heard from him in a while. Yeah. How you doing,
thank
man?
you for popping in, Poppy.
Yeah.
Your ears must have been burning. We said your name earlier when Ron called in.
They did. I tell you what, Oppenheimer in the movie theater, like my wife and I watched it in like 4K IMAX. The sound quality and the visuals, it was phenomenal.
Well, and that's what I was going to say to you about Dunkirk. We watched it in theater, so a lot of my gaming friends. Robert, did you come with us?
I think I might have.
Yeah, we had our like Max and Zeno and Barry and like all of us war gamers got together and went and watched Dunkirk in theaters. Something about that heartbeat bass that they have, you can't really replicate it at home. Because it's so low.
Yeah,
it just kind of pervasive, and it had me on edge of my seat in the theater. Whereas I've watched Dunkirk twice at home now, and listen, I don't have a huge home theater system or anything, but it just doesn't work. It didn't have me on the edge of my seats. My kids didn't really like it; they didn't love it, but I still think Dunkirk was a great film.
Yeah, it was really good. I really enjoyed Dunkirk,
especially with the way they did the compressed timelines.
Yeah,
how like. They each, I don't know how to say this. All the different things that were going on happened at different times, but then they started at different times, right, in the film.
Kind of ended at the same time.
But they all like climaxed together at the same time. I don't know how to say that. Like, it was so cool how Christopher Nolan did that.
Another one. Did you? Was it is it 1912 or 1918?
1918. I have that one.
Another one that was really good. Like just the like it was like there's like a 40 or 50 minute stretch of time where it's just one camera cut. Like
no, the whole movie's like one camera cut.
Yeah, or something. Yeah. Oh my gosh, so good.
It's actually my son, my my high schooler was just talking about that movie last night. That's how good that movie was. We haven't seen it in over a year, but something got him thinking about World War I and 1918. That's a great film.
Mike, have you seen that one?
I have not. No.
I haven't. No, I don't know if I've heard of it. 1918.
Really? I have it on Amazon.
Okay.
It's a good one. 1917. Sorry,
1917.
Okay.
It's really
I've heard of 1917. 1918.
Yeah, no, it's really good. It's like it follows.
We'll just call it 19XX from now on.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. I mean, basic premise is like 2 soldiers are sent. Like the lines are cut for communication, so they have to get like through all the trenches, through the nastiest of the fighting, to this other army on the other side to warn them not to charge because the Germans know.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
and if they don't get if it's an ambush, right? So the whole movie is like a one cut of just these 2 guys fighting through trenches, and it's there's several scenes where you're just like. After like 5 minutes,
exhausted.
Of nothing, you're like
exhausted.
My fat ass didn't move, but I'm like out of breath.
I don't know if you remember the first time you saw Saving Private Ryan. After that first 10 minutes of the assault on the beach.
Oh man, yeah, you had to take a nap after that.
Exhausted afterward. I'll tell you a quick story. This is it touched me. I gotta admit, like I'm not a crier, right? But I cried. I'm in Eastern Long Island and I'm watching the movie, and it's the opening scene, and they're hitting the beach, whatever. And I'm with my girlfriend, college girlfriend at the time. We're sitting there watching the movie. And like after that happened, there's a moment where it kind of like gets brighter, and I could see in the theater, right? And I look down, and like 10 rows in front of me, there's like 5 dudes that are all like 70 years old, right? And they're wearing hats with pins on it,
man.
right? And the dude on the aisle is wearing a military hat, and he has his pins, and I see his hand, and his hand is he's just shaking, like and I'm watching him watch the movie, and I'm just like, I can't.
Oh yeah,
too much,
losing
man.
it.
I was losing it because like he was like they were
Reliving it almost.
Oh my god, watch it. That was I never want to see a movie about a real event where people who were there are in the movie theater ever again, because that was traumatic for me, man. I was just like, oh my god, that's rough. Like
I'm not crying, you're crying.
Yeah, I was like, I looked at, I was like, that dude lived it, man. You could see his hand; he was just shaking, visibly shaking. Like, I was rough. It was rough. It was rough.
Yeah.
So William's asking if we're taking calls still.
Well, if William's gonna call, I'll take his call.
Let's open that
I'll
line.
turn off the Discord. The line's open, William. If you're threatening me with a good time, I'm saying yes, sir. 1917. Kyle Jeeves was talking about it. Roger Deakins did the cinematography. He won an Oscar for it. He's the greatest. And I watched like a not a how to the behind the scenes of it.
Sure.
Yeah, and they talked about how they were really purposeful with their scenes in order to like find an oak tree or something to walk behind so that they can cut the camera.
Oh yeah.
And then kind of continue after they got past the oak tree, or they would go into like a mine and it would get like super dark in that one room so that they can then come out the other side and to allow for their cuts. Like they did an excellent job. Beans and Dice Podcast, state your name, where you calling from?
Hey, this is William calling from Texas.
Hey, William.
From Texas?
Texas, yeah, that's
I'm over here. I've been over here for the last couple of weeks engineering.
Engineering?
Yeah.
New term, yeah.
So how you guys doing?
We are well.
It's been a little while since I've been able to call in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you got going on?
We're just hoping to do a live stream here pretty soon to celebrate our 1K, and we're almost to 2.
Oh, nice.
Oh, wow.
It's been pretty crazy over on the channel.
That's awesome.
But, just wanted to call and say you guys have an awesome subscriber number right now.
Oh, 666. I saw somebody post that earlier. Yeah. Woohoo.
No, you guys
Carlos
were
is
talking
like,
about
please somebody unsubscribe. Or
I'm going to unsubscribe to myself.
Subscribe.
So you hit 2K subs?
We're at 1.7K right now, almost 1.8.
Nice.
That's insanity.
Yeah, we had a viral video kind of happen. It's over
Blood on the Clock Tower?
120K. No, it was actually just a random cosplay video that we posted, a little 12-second short of a guy in a costume. It was from Five Nights at Freddy's, and it just, I guess the movie caused people to want to watch that video and watch it over and over again and comment on it and like it. And
blew up.
It was a little 12-second short, blew the channel up.
Nice.
Kind of crazy.
Sometimes that happens.
Well, I was calling in because, I haven't talked to you guys in a while, and I was awake and getting ready to go to bed because I got to go dark 30 in the morning to go back to work. I was listening to Wayne talk about seeing Saving Private Ryan. I had a similar experience many years ago. It was like 15 years ago. I was in a German fighter squadron World War II simulator called IL-2 Stromovik. It was really intense, like realistic flight sim models and everything for World War II. And we would have like 50 planes on each side in battles, big fur balls. It was crazy, online battles. And I went to an event online, and my wingman was an actual World War II U.S. fighter pilot.
Wow, cool.
And I learned a boatload from him that day. And then a few weeks later, he passed.
Oh,
and
man.
we had a
Oh,
big,
wow.
yeah, we had a big air show in his honor online. It was crazy. A lot of people there that knew him, and I got the pleasure of meeting him and flying with him for a day, and it was an honor.
Very cool.
Yeah, being a veteran myself, it was an honor.
No, that generation
to fly with
is
somebody.
we're losing them so fast. My son does NJ Navy Junior ROTC, and he does color guard for certain events. And he came back and told us about a color guard event he did that was for a World War II soldier. Come to find out, my father-in-law, who does replica World War II bomber jackets, knows the guy, because the guy his son had ordered a bomber jacket for him, because he was Army Air Corps, for him as a gift. So then that connected my son to my grandfather, to then all them getting together to visit him in the hospital in his last few days. So my son, my father-in-law, all got to spend time with him, hear his stories before he passed away. It's which is great for my 16-year-old, for him to learn to appreciate the service of those in the past. But it's sad to know that we're losing that whole generation.
Yeah, it is.
Great story,
And
man.
we're losing the Vietnam too. So, and the Korean.
Oh yeah.
All the old heroes are going, but we honor them and remember their sacrifices. It's all good. But going into board game stuff, a game that my wife's obsessed with right now is Spend Some for Dim Sum.
Oh, it's such a good game.
It's such a good, especially for $20. It's a lot of game for $20.
I can't believe the Dice Tower poo-pooed on it the way they did. I was so disappointed.
I was.
Who?
Yeah, with
The Dice Tower. They all said it was one of the worst versions of the Sushi Go line that that was out there. It was too much going on. It was just a toy. It was they poo-pooed all over it. They didn't like it at all.
Oh, that's complete nonsense.
I agree. It was great.
Who listens to those guys anyway?
Yeah, exactly. Tom from Miami.
What the hell do they know? It wasn't a Kickstarter game, so they ain't about it.
Exactly.
But I think it's short enough for entry level. It's got some fun, and it doesn't overstay its welcome. It's well put together for $20.
Yeah.
The quality is fantastic. Yeah.
And
Great.
for $20, a little squishy bun in there, that's worth it right there.
Absolutely.
I'm obsessed with that little thing.
That was Robert's nickname in college.
Squishy bun. Yeah.
Little squishy bun.
Little squishy bud.
Little squishy bun.
That is like the hardest part of the
It
game.
was great talking to you guys.
Well, always.
Oh, wait, go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Hopefully
go ahead.
Get back soon, man. No, I was gonna say hopefully you come back soon, and it's been a while since we connected. So
Yeah. I was really hoping to be able to come to you guys' gift exchange. Hope that you guys get a good turnout. Don't know if I'm even going to be in Florida when that's going on, but if I am, I will definitely be there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for
I
the
can't make any
reminder, because I
promises
completely
right now.
forgot about that.
Yeah, we should announce it. Say something about it.
let me bring it up. I'm glad we had William on the show tonight. Is there anything else, William, that we need to let the folks at home know about?
Make sure they're subscribing to you guys' channel and checking all the other content you guys have been putting out.
Check out
Great
Nerdy
live
Weds.
stream.
Nerdy Weds on YouTube. Nerdy Weds. Keena and William blowing it up there.
Yeah.
1.7K subscribers.
2,000.
Monetizing like a champ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been great. It's been an interesting ride, and it's not because we've been pushing it really hard. In fact, we'd actually taken a break, and during that break, it passed the 1K, and it's gone so fast that we haven't had a chance to even put together the 1K giveaway that we're going to be doing.
Oh, yeah.
So
Double it.
it's going to be a live stream. We're going to be giving away a bunch of prizes and just celebrating that. And we're almost to 2K.
Sweet.
We haven't even got that done yet. So,
Make sure you let us know so we can cross promote.
Oh, yeah.
Of course. And we'll always put you guys out there as well.
Sweet.
You guys have been awesome.
Appreciate
Great
you.
friends. Appreciate you guys. Have a good night.
Stay in touch. Don't be a
I'm
stranger.
going to go sleep.
Yeah, good
Oh,
night, William.
anyway.
All right, so that's William from Nerdy Weds.
Game Exchange.
Yeah, Game Exchange. Saturday, December 16th.
16th,
I think is the date.
That's right, yeah.
Armada Games. I think we're shooting for like a 2 o'clock. I think, Wayne, 2 o'clock was good for you, right?
Yep, out there, yeah.
Just bring in a game of $20, $25 or more in value, not in cost. You could have paid $2 for it or got it for free. I don't care.
New or used, as long as the used is in good shape.
Yep, you can wrap it or not wrap it. All you do is just bring a game, throw it on the table. Anyone that participates, we're going to put your name in a hat. We'll draw this. We learned this from Dice Towers Retreat.
So we've done a couple different ways, but yeah, we're going to do this a little different.
We'll draw a name out of the hat, and whatever name gets drawn gets to go to the table and pick a game off the table. We'll do that until we get to the end of it.
I think we're going to have more games than people, it feels like.
Yep, so
we'll
once we get to the end of it,
yeah,
we'll then go in reverse of the order we called them in to begin with and call them backwards. So the last person will get to pick 2 games and work our way until all the games are off the table.
So if you pick first, you're probably going to get a high-quality game, something that's really good out there that you like. If you pick last, you may not have quite the selection, but you'll definitely get 2 games when some of the top-end people probably will just get 1.
Yep.
So
it's kind of like how we did it last time. It's enjoyable. It's simple. It keeps it easy. You don't have to wrap anything. It doesn't have to be new. And I really do say, like, anything you don't want to ever play again, like things that you won't play again and you want to get rid of, just put it out there. There might be someone that's interested in the theme or the idea of that game, and they'll scoop it up.
Yep,
just having a good time. I'll have pizzas. I'll get some pizzas from the shop next door. Because I got the 5-star pizza.
Yep.
And you miss that place, don't you?
The garlic rolls, man. I miss their garlic rolls.
Yeah, those are
butter can give you a heart attack on that garlic roll.
and there's
that half-cooked dough will give you a heart attack. What are you talking about? They give you salmonella, but it's so good, dude.
It's worth
it. Mike, actually, not even just the pizza place. Next door, there's also Rob. It's a German place, right?
Oh, yes. So what is it? The German
Doner kebab place.
There you go. Yep.
They opened up a German place?
Yeah.
German doner kebabs.
You guys are killing me.
Yeah, you pick your base, you pick your meat, and then you pick your vegetables, and they make it all up for you. It's nice.
Right.
I'm down.
Good stuff.
December 16th.
December 16th. The other thing I'll plug is I think Getty is getting ready to announce the next Beans and Dice Discord
tournament,
board game arena tournament. We're going to do for sale. So for sale tournament. Yeah, we're going to do a for sale tournament. We've done Castles of Burgundy, Can't Stop, a few other tournaments. So we always like to. Yeah. What else?
Say Castles of Burgundy, but you already said that. Yep.
Yeah, Castles of Burgundy, Can't Stop.
We did.
Welcome to.
Yeah, we've done. We like to rotate through doing board game arena tournaments. So if you join the Discord server and join our board game arena group, we'll have a for sale tournament starting sometime around.
Carlos is out. He doesn't play bidding games well, so he's just dried out on that one.
I don't play games well. All right, so the next week, update our top 20 list. Let's plan it.
Let's do it.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you, folks, for being with us tonight. Thanks for making it a call-in show. Tim and Mike from Board Game Rundown. Did I get that right? Board Game Rundown?
Yep, Board Game Rundown.
Thank you so much for joining in. To all our friends of the show, all the content in the chatter. Check out Mr. Jeeves on BGG. He's in the photography competition. You can find out more in the Discord. I think under Shameless Plugs.
I think so. Yeah,
is where we're posting them. He's been earning points in winning these photography contests, deservedly winning.
Go to the Hall of Fame.
Like, I don't think it was fair that second place got as close as they did in October, just because the picture had a cat in it.
Of course,
like, not okay with that. Like that picture was just a picture of Cthulhu with a cat.
Shut the cat up.
Shut that cat up.
On that note, I'm Carlos.
I'm Rob.
I'm Mike.
And I'm Wayne.
Thanks for watching the Beans and Dice podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Night, everybody.